welcome everyone to TJ and the Grumpy Olds Man live coverage of the 2022 NFL Draft. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grump, draft day is finally upon us.
It's like
Grump.
It's like Christmas.
Is it really?
It's like Christmas for NFL teams. Yes.
Well, at least it's a time period to where everybody gets that feeling that, hey, hope springs eternal. That, hey, my team has hope again. With these additions we've made, and now we're finally in good position in order to make that fabled late playoff run.
Very true.
What are you doing, Grump?
I'm ready to go. I'm super excited. I'm ready to go.
Grump, I'll be back in a sec. I'm about to turn on the AC in my house because I'm getting hot. I'm getting ready. I'm getting excited. Let me ask you this. As I'm gone, who's going to be this year's first overall pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars?
First pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be, where the heck is his name here? Trayvon Walker, defensive end from Georgia. 6'5", 275. Not really as highly ranked as you'd expect, but it seems like that's who Jacksonville is hot for. And Jacksonville, here's the thing. Jacksonville is where they are because they don't know how to draft. They don't know how to use free agency properly, and this would be another example. That said, this is not a season where you have marquee talent at the top of the board. You have probably between the top 15 players maybe, and then everybody's kind of jumbled up from 16 to 60 around that. So it's going to be, I think, a lot of picks that people are going to start scratching their heads on a little bit, which is fine. But for me, I don't like that trade, Trayvon Walker. If you're going to draft, with the first round of the pick, Aiden Hutchinson, if you're looking for an edge guy, was ranked number 1 from Michigan. I think if Jacksonville decides to go with Trayvon Walker, you're going to see Aiden Hutchinson immediately go to Detroit Lions. I think that's who Detroit wants anyway. So it's going to be interesting. Then we're going to see a run, potentially of offensive tackles with the Jets and the Giants. Interesting. Of course, the Jets are also in the mix for Deebo Samuel, who I don't think is going to be traded at all today. So that's really not much of a concern either.
Okay, well, let me interrupt you, Grump. Get a drink here. Let me ask you this. Now, I think you said Trayvon Walker you think is going to be the first one off the board. It's not necessarily that I don't like the pick. It's just tough. This is not years like it has been in the past. It's not like where you've got one marquee player. I think as you're mentioning, you said, hey, the top tier talent. They all have flaws in their game, and sometimes you'll occasionally run across a draft where it's like, holy shit, Joe Burrow is a can't-miss guy. This player is a can't-miss player. You'll run across Justin Herbert is a can't-miss player. There's certain times where you'll run across a draft where there's a lot of players at the top of the board that have a lot of things going in their direction, have very, very small items they have to tweak in their game in order to be really successful NFL guys. That's not one of these. This is not one of those years. Simple as that. There's a lot of players in this year's draft that are raw. And, be that as it may, maybe you chalk it up to, 2020, they had to go ahead and essentially, delay and, they had to shorten seasons with COVID. Maybe that impacted a year of, development. But you could say that, that would be the reason why last year that, we had a lot of top end talent on the board. This is just a weaker draft class. And Trayvon Walker, he's definitely got items that makes him a very valuable player. He does, right? He's one of those guys who's got a low, he's got low pad level. He gets that punch. He's able to work the power. He needs to do a better job of being able to have a more, I get the power, get underneath on my bull rush on the offensive lineman. Now I can work that into a speed rush. Now that I've got him off balance, now as he's trying to anchor down, I can push pull. Now I have to worry about what am I doing next? He's a guy who is unbelievably athletic, and he's used that to be a very successful college player. He needs to start taking the next steps to be a really, truly special NFLer, though.
Yeah, like I said, he does have some special traits. I don't know. I think he's one of those guys who also benefited playing in that Georgia defense where you had a lot of great players. So, who do you defend again? Who do you block? And like I said, his rise up the board has been really kind of meteoric.
Yes, I mean, you think exactly, right? It was supposed to be Kayvon Thibodeaux going into this year and even halfway through the year, he's going to be penciled in as the number 1 overall pick. And I'd say talent-wise, I think he's the most talented player in the draft. Grump and I may say, I don't want to get too far off the tangent because when we talk about him, I'm sure we'll talk a little more specifically about why he's fallen and, whether it's just or not, and depending on how far he actually falls. But this is a guy I think who's got the best talent on this year's draft board. I think Trayvon Walker comes off first. Aiden Hutchinson's also a very, very talented young man as well. But yeah, right. This year is just not a year where there's a lot of that top end talent. There's a lot of players that have some holes and deficiencies in their game.
Very, very true. And that's, I know the draft starts in 2 minutes. I know that Jacksonville's probably going to take their full 10 minutes so they can milk this as long as possible. But the one thing that think about all the moves that have been made in the offseason. I mean, how many quarterbacks have been traded? How many big free agent signings? I mean, for me, it's just been absolutely crazy, right?
We went over this. Are you about to start rattling off everything? We went over that our last podcast. But, there have been a lot of quarterback. What, Grumpy?
Okay. Well, maybe a lot of people who are listening to tonight's live stream aren't aware of all that. Maybe they don't normally listen to our podcast.
We've got 2 minutes until the draft starts. We could talk about that when there's some dead time period or when somebody picks a guy like Penning way too early. Or, so I think, Grumpy, there's going to be a few way off the board picks in this year's draft, but there has been a lot that has happened. You're going to talk about the Brady. You're going to talk about Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. There are so many big name players that have moved.
Yes. Quarterbacks in particular.
Quarterbacks, you got how many top 10 wide receivers? Devontae Adams, I know you're going to mention. You're going to mention Tyreek Hill. There's so many top 10 players that have moved across every single position, and that's just not normally indicative to what an NFL offseason is.
Do you know where Khalil Mack is playing this year?
The Bears still, right?
No.
He was traded. Right. He was traded to the Chargers. That's right. He was traded to the Los Angeles Chargers. I was about to say, I remember when we had gone down, everybody who had been traded, I forgot to even mention his name because there's so many big name marquee guys that have been moved. You forget Khalil Mack is now playing for the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's what I was going to say is if there's been so much activity and crazy stuff going on that people forget that Khalil Mack, in a normal year, a guy like Khalil Mack moving to another team is probably like the biggest move of the offseason, but that's not the case now. So, yeah. It's just crazy. It just is. And, right now,
Grumpy is going.
They're showing Kenny Pickett, and they're like, I don't know why we're showing him on day one. That's probably a day 2 pick. No, DJ?
Here's the thing. Quarterbacks always get overdrafted. You look at the hype behind Kenny Pickett. Everybody's he's got small hands. Oh, his small hands are a big issue. Have you ever noticed he wears gloves when he throws the ball? It gives him that better grip. But you're right. He does have small hands. And a guy who maybe if he had adequate size hands would be looking at a top 10 pick. He measures with small hands. So that's probably going to negatively affect his draft stock by quite a large amount. But this year's quarterback draft class is not like it has been in the last 2 years, right? The last 2 years, we have been very fortunate with unbelievable quarterbacks, top to bottom, that are drafted early in the first round. This year, right, you got Malik Willis. I've seen people who pencil him even as high as maybe going to Carolina. Yikes. What a reach that would be. And the same thing is, I like Kenny Pickett, right? I'm a University of Pittsburgh fan, but 6th overall to Carolina is just, it's a reach.
There were some mock drafts showing Malik Willis going number 2 to Detroit. Now, that would just be insane.
Well, that's what I mean about this year's draft. There's a lot of these picks that are going to be absolute shock to us. Now, Grumpy, because he doesn't want to be behind as when everything is happening. Grumpy can't be 30 or 45 seconds behind and late for my stream. So Grumpy will be announcing all the picks. When Grumpy finds out the pick, I guess I'll be hearing from it there first. I don't have anything that's got the pick up. So Grumpy, I'm being reliant upon you to provide accurate information, Grumpy.
Maybe you should get yourself some better internet so you are not a minute behind. Here's the thing: if you're doing a draft show, you can't be 5-10 minutes late on a pick.
Oh man. But yeah, I assume Jacksonville is now on the clock because it's 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. For those of you who are new to the show, welcome. This is a twice-a-week sports podcast. We talk all things sports. We go live on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. Grumpy, I'm excited. This is a year ago we launched this YouTube channel and this page, and we launched it with our first NFL draft coverage in 2021. And whoa, babe, Grump, that was a rough one. That was the first show we ever did. It was a rough one.
That's because we let TJ do whatever he wanted to do, and you know how that turns out.
Grumpy gets fixated like an old man staring at the television. Oh man, I tell you.
Well, like I said, the draft has started, but it's not like Goodell goes up and says, "Hey, we're starting. Jacksonville's on the clock."
Ding, ding, ding.
That's not the way it
man.
works.
No, not at all. Not at all. Got a comment from Jeremy Ford saying, "Happy Thursday, fellas. Have a great show. Sorry, I'm not much of a football fan. Dobson has 2 assists tonight. He's hit his 50 points. Barzal also with 2 assists. Noah will be an MJ or MJR.
Major reason
To Barzal staying. Wallstrom needs to step it up too."
He's young.
Andrew L saying, "I need some help on if my Jets did the right thing or not, because I'm not, that deep into football as I am in baseball or hockey. I will let you know if the Jets make a typical Jets blunder or if they select the right guy. We'll make sure to let you know."
Going into this draft process, Kyle Hamilton, who's the safety from Notre Dame, was supposed to be a top 5 selection. Now rumors are that he's falling down and could fall certainly out of the top 10.
He's a safety. That's the reason why I have seen him falling, but he's a safety. I always laugh when I've got safety going the top 5 pick. I'm like, yeah, Kyle Hamilton does it all, right? You look at a guy who can play zone coverage, a guy who can play man coverage, a guy who's 6'4". He's got the mobility. He doesn't match up well against the smaller slot receivers and guys with elite speed. That's going to cause him trouble in the NFL. But he's got the size of a safety in order to cover those big tight ends. He's a guy who can go ahead and neutralize big game tight ends. So that is a huge plus, I think, in the NFL, but again, will struggle against the slot wide receivers in the NFL.
And people have said that they view him as more of a box safety, but it's not what he played at Notre Dame. So, and he's a bigger guy. So, like I said, I think that's interesting that people are saying that he's potentially going to be somebody that's dropping.
There's been a lot of movement upwards and downwards. Akeem Ekwonu, he's a guy who's shut up and he seems to be everybody's sweetheart. I don't know. He's got a lot to work on. I look at some of these offensive linemen that have shot up the board. I've seen silly mock. We're going to put Cross up above Evan Neal. And Akeem Ekwonu is going to be drafted before Evan Neal. I just left him. I'm scratching my head thinking to myself, what the hell are these guys watching on tape? That's why these people just put up mock drafts. Come on. Evan Neal's the best offensive lineman by a freaking country mile in this year's draft class. Not even close.
But it would not be a surprise if he was not the first offensive lineman taken off today.
And that's what leaves me to think, we just have a draft class to where, people don't see the top end talent like they have in the past. I mean, Evan Neal is great, but he's not a Penei Sewell just quite yet or anything like that. But I would be shocked if he's not the first offensive lineman off the board.
Okay. We're going to find out. I mean, I know, like I said, for me, what is Houston looking to do? I know they would love to trade out of number 3, but that's the whole thing. A lot of teams want to trade back.
They don't. And the shitty thing is, right, there's not the quarterback to trade up for like there have been in years past, right? A lot of times like, we want to trade up for Kyler Murray. We want to trade up for Justin Herbert. Or, we want to trade up for a guy like Joe Burrow. There's not that this year.
Okay. A lot of teams want to trade back, but not a whole lot of teams want to trade up. And you have so many teams with multiple first-round picks. This is where actually, if you do want to move up, you could have that opportunity and maybe not have to pay a king's ransom as in previous years. So that could be a team maybe like the New England Patriots want to move up a little bit because the price wouldn't be too high. The strength of this draft is in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, though, for certain.
It's a deep draft. But not a lot of high-end talent. You got a lot of players that are, valuable players, but nobody who really sticks out as, holy crap, this is a can't miss.
And here comes Roger Goodell. He's looking healthy. Looks like he's lost some weight.
And Yankees win. Bellis and Wallstrom need to step it up. They are seriously trying. Next year could be a great year for the Islander fans if they make the right moves this offseason.
I hope so. And they got Derek Carr out there, and I don't know who else is with him.
Okay,
I love watching the fan bases that come out here. I mean, they're totally geared up. Detroit Lions sent a couple of cheerleaders. You have the New Orleans contingent dressing up like they're on Bourbon Street. I mean, it's a fun atmosphere without a doubt.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's his, first time being held in Vegas, so I'm sure it's got some special additives to it, Grump.
Here's some Carolina Panther fans. They're drunk. I'm just telling you right now.
Well, hey, I'll be honest with you. If you're drafting Malik Willis 6th overall, don't you need to be drunk?
Yeah, and they always put the show on at the beginning. Marcus Allen, former Raider great, is introduced to the crowd. I don't know. There's Derek Carr. I don't know who the other guy is.
Okay, Grumpy. Let's get through a few comments. I don't need to hear what's going on the TV, but thank you. That's maybe why I'm not watching it. We got a few more comments we can talk through. Unless it's something funny, man. Come on now. TJ, you're selling yourself short. You're more than just a Mickey Mouse operation. I like it, Jeremy. I do. The Wicker Man says there are always off picks in the draft. Yeah, I was about to say there always are going to be huge reaches. And today, I feel like there's going to be at least one pick in the first round. We're going to be like, holy shit, this is a 3rd round type guy. I just have that feeling there's going to be at least one player that is going to be way overdrafted. We'll be shocked with. And quarterback teams will gamble because of their upside at the position. That's why teams gamble with quarterbacks, Grump, for certain. Predictions on who the Cowboys select, Grump.
A little early yet.
I was about to say, right? Cowboys don't select until trying to think. What, they don't select until the 2nd round?
I mean,
Grump?
I don't know if they do or not.
Oh, I'm sorry, 24th. 24th.
I just want to say something. They brought Ice Cube up on stage. Now, Ice Cube was part of NWA, totally nonconformist back in the day, and now they're just like corporate America. I just find that interesting.
Great, Grumpy. Well, I don't care about Ice Cube, to be quite honest with you.
It's a 5-hour show. It's a 5-hour show. No picks have been made. Chill your jets, buddy.
Jesus Christ. Why don't you tell me more about how Ice Cube has sold out and become corporate because he wants to be able to protect his brand? Come on, it's what they all do. What are you talking about? They always rap about how tough the life is, and as soon as they get to the luscious lifestyle they've dreamt of since they were kids, right? Well, you got to protect that. I don't blame them. What? I tell you, but 24, that is a long way away. There might be guys who fall. I feel like today is going to be a day where you could see a guy like Jordan Davis fall. You could see a guy like Jordan Davis get overdrafted. You could see a lot of different crazy scenarios.
Where do you think Jordan Davis, how far do you think he'd fall?
I think he's a guy who very easily is an early teen, or like he's a 12 or a 13. And
That's not falling.
Falling. That's where I think he could be picked. I'm saying, right, if he falls in 19, 20, I consider that falling.
There's no way he's getting to 19 or 20. No way. There are too many teams that need defensive tackles of his caliber.
Okay, here's the thing.
17 is the farthest he goes. I
like Jordan Davis. I think he's a really fantastic role player. He's got good quickness relative to his size. And he's got a lot of strength, right? It's really tough to block him with one guy, but he's your classic, typical one gap player, a gap player who's a plugger, who occasionally could show those moments of speed and quickness and make a center or a guard look foolish because he's been hitting with power. And then he hits him with a quick move and he's able to olay an offensive lineman to throw him up out of the club. And he's able to get pressure on the quarterback's face. This is not, He is valuable. He's a very good role player, and I think some team would love to have him on their roster. But I could see guys. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm just saying I could see anybody dropping in this year's draft.
He ran a 4.75 40.
I understand.
At 345 pounds.
I understand.
Okay, he's one of those planet players. They only make so many of them. I think you're vastly underselling him. There are 8 teams with multiple first-round picks. The Lions, 2-32. Texans, 3-13. Jets, 4-10. Giants, 5-7. The Eagles, 15-18. The Saints, 16-19. The Packers, 22-28. And the Chiefs, 29-30. That's a lot of teams to have multiple picks in the first round.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I'm short. I think Jordan Davis does a lot of things well. I really do. But, I mean, you're talking about he's, I think, inept when it comes to the pass rushing ability, right? You look at some guys that are D tackle or play D tackle, right? And they maybe are not A gap players, right? Aaron Donald plays D tackle. not an A-gap player, not a nose guard, right? But he has the quickness and the speed to consistently get in the backfield with a pass rush. All
You're
I'm
not
saying is
running.
Jordan Davis is a guy who is more of a run stuffer and a run blocker in a league that is pass-centric.
Yeah,
That's what it
that's
is.
true. Okay, you could say that about Vita Vea as well for the Tampa Bay
You
Buccaneers,
think Vita
right?
Vea should be a guy who's a top 10 pick?
I didn't
No.
say he was top 10.
I'm just saying, right? I think he could be better than Vita Vea. I think he's extremely quick.
Vita Vea went number 12. He's a freaking all-pro. He's an all-pro. You cannot run on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers up the middle. You just don't do it when he's in the game. That's how good. He's just that dominant. This kid could be just as good.
Okay. I think he's a guy, he's a two-gap player. He's really tough. Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of a Vince Wilfork-esque type player. He's not as quick as Vita Vea. I know his numbers are fantastic, right? I get the 40 was great. I get the 20, the 20-yard dash was great. I only see burst of it every once in a while. I think he's a great prospect. But again, I'm just saying I could see a guy like that slip a bit.
Okay.
How often the league is a pass-centric league. It's the reason why Vita Vea doesn't get much, hype and pub outside of people who really follow the game.
He takes on 3 blockers on pass rushing downs. 3 guys. Why do you think their pass rush is so good? Because he takes 2 guards and a center to try to stop him.
Who gets more rep, Vita Vea or Aaron Donald? I mean, you have to have the quickness.
They don't put 3 guys on Aaron Donald.
Bullshit. You don't watch enough Rams games.
Oh, please.
I know you've never liked Aaron Donald.
He dominates the interior. They move Aaron Donald all along the line. They don't do that
because he's so versatile. That's correct.
He is versatile. He is.
Unbelievable.
I'm not putting Aaron Donald down.
Aaron Donald and Jordan Davis play 2 different positions. That's also worth taking.
Exactly right. That's right. I don't know why you're trying to say Vita Vea and Aaron Donald. They're 2 totally different players. All I'm saying is that, well, he looks like he eats a little bit of McDonald's, that Jordan Davis. That's for certain.
Yeah, he does. Now, that's a guy, would it shock you at all if he gets to himself like at one point where he's like an Albert Hainsworth where he maybe eats himself out of the league? He's had those weight problems before in the past.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not going that far.
We're talking a lot about Jordan Davis. I'll tell you one thing. The Georgia Bulldog fans are freaking fierce fans. They hate the living shit out of the videos we did when we covered the Georgia Bulldogs. I get so many comments that come up, and they're just so upset with how poorly we talk about the players and the members of the Georgia Bulldogs. Oh, man.
I think they're damn good. You're the only one dumping on them.
No, they shit all over your day, Grumpy. Maybe you don't remember what you used to say. All the comments are like, who the hell is this grumpy old man? Jordan Davis is run a 4.78 as you're sitting on your cat. Trust me, Grump, you don't remember what you said, but I get the comments reminders every day. Every day it seems like the closer we get to the NFL draft, I get a reminder.
Well, he did look a little bit out of gas.
Well, that's my point. I get it. He ran an unbelievable 40. I'm just looking at what I saw on tape.
He's good. He's good.
I'm not saying he's not.
Going into the season, he was like consensus top 5 pick, but he didn't. I mean, I just think he struggled a little bit.
I don't think he's a top 10 guy.
I don't think he's top 10 either, but he's not going to last till 19 or 20.
Okay.
Then he's a steal. His thing, he'll never get past 17. Never. That's where the Chargers pick. They can't stop the run. If he lasts to 17, you might even see the Chargers trade up. If they see him,
I think he'd be great for the Chargers, right? What do the Chargers need to do? They need to add more to the defense. The offense was firing on all cylinders. They had so many weapons. The defense was a struggling point, right? Trading for Khalil Mack was important. They acquire who they acquire at cornerback, defensive back this year, Rump? The Chargers.
Gosh, I don't remember. Do you? You should never ask a question you don't know the answer to, counselor. I'm just telling you that right now.
Rumpy, what did I tell you your job was? To remind us all the offseason acquisitions today. That was your job to study up on.
I was going to run through them, but you told me not to do it.
Oh,
you told me not to do it. Now you're asking before these things even start. That's what I was going to do, but you said no. Once again, you shut me down from doing my job because it's not on the TJ timetable.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Let me see if I get it pulled up.
I don't know if they picked up a cornerback that was off the charts, but I mean, if Khalil Mack and I think
JC Jackson. He was there. Was he? Yeah, JC.
The pick is in. The Jacksonville Jaguars pick is in. Who do you think is going to be, DJ? Make your prediction now.
I'm thinking it's going to. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Trayvon Walker. Here's the thing. I would love if they picked a guy like Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think that's the best player to draft. I think it's most
It won't
talented
be
player to
him.
draft.
Now, I heard that Thibodeaux, his interview with the Jets went well because he told them, "Yeah, I'm really dedicated to football." Oh, really? That's gonna make it for me. Sorry,
Oh,
he's got the biggest bust potential out there of any of the high picks.
bullshit.
Bust with a
I can
capital
tell you the
B.
guys. Hey, Grumpy, you know what? I came prepared, Grumpy, with all my draft sheets. I'll let you know what I think as the picks come in. All right. I tried to do all the pre-work beforehand. There's some guys I didn't get to. And this year's draft class, I feel like I would have had to cover 60 players if I wanted
Right,
to get the
stop
full.
talking. The pick is in, please.
Who pick, Grumpy? What's the pick?
Stop talking. Trayvon Walker, first pick, edge rusher from the University of Georgia to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I can't say I'm shocked. That's at least where everybody had him penciled in. That's a guy who had a huge rise after the combine and after those items at Pro Day. I mean, he's a guy who's really jumped up the boards as of late.
Very, very true. What's interesting is, all the pundits, they do their final rankings and all that stuff. None of them had Trayvon Walker as number one. Not a one.
I tell you, Grump, the reason is because he's another one of those players that's, look at how many unbelievable 40 times we saw this year at the combine. All of them, just like, holy shit, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. It was just like 4-3 is just like the 4-3 was the new 4-4. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, Walker is a guy who, I think about this, at 6'5", 271 pounds, ran a 4.51 40-yard dash. He's unbelievably athletic. This is a guy, as I said before, has unbelievable amounts of athleticism. He really does. And that's what's allowed him to be a successful college player. There's no doubt about it. It's going to help him in the pros, no doubt at all. He needs to get more refined, though, in his pass rush ability. He is a bull rush first mentality type of guy. He's really good on the bull rush. I love to see him work more from the bull rush than to a finesse move. That would make him, again, as dangerous as guys like Von Miller, as dangerous as those outside linebackers you have to scheme against, Grump.
Can't you really say that about any rusher coming out of college, that, they can work on their pass rush skills?
Some guys are no, Grumpy. Some guys are just really good natural pass rushers.
Okay, who have multiple moves?
Yes. There are guys in this draft class have multiple moves, but struggle in other areas. Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah. It's like some guys are really, really refined when it comes to their pass pros and offensive linemen, but they struggle in other areas.
Just to let you know, the Lions pick is already in. I guarantee you it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson. Guarantee.
Yes. I tell you, one thing I noticed too about Trayvon Walker that he could do a little bit better of, he pre-selects his pass rush move sometimes. And sometimes it's good to come into the play with an idea of what you're going to do. That being said, sometimes offensive linemen leave a gaping hole in the inside that you have to exploit. Sometimes they flip their hips and try to turn out to you too quickly, and you have to be able to go ahead and redirect him with a finesse move. If he has the mindset of, I'm coming in with a bull rush, I'm coming in with this move, that's the first move he's going with. He doesn't really alter from that. Some guys are easy and able to naturally read and react. He's a guy who struggles with that at times.
Let me ask
I'm not saying he's going to be a bad player, right? Don't go ahead and say, "Oh, these are just criticisms I noticed about a game." He is an unbelievable player. Can't say that enough.
You're going to run out of words. It's going to be a 4.5, 5-hour show, so I need you to just tone it down just a little bit. I have a question for you. Do you think? Aiden Hutchinson was the consensus best overall talent in the draft. Do you think that Jacksonville kind of overthought it a little bit to go with Walker over Hutchinson, considering they both play the same position?
Yeah, I do. I think they could have, no doubt in my mind. Walker does some things that Aiden Hutchinson can't do. I mean, you look at the pursuit, the nonstop. Aiden Hutchinson has the nonstop motor too. The pursuit goes into favor of Walker. The athleticism, I think, goes into favor of Walker. There's certain things that you can't teach that go into the favor of Walker. I think the ceiling for Walker is higher possibly than Hutchinson's, though.
Okay. And now it's official. Aiden Hutchinson has been picked by the Detroit Lions. Good for him.
I think that's a good pick by the Lions. We watched on how they could screw things up. They didn't today. Played for the University of Michigan. So, he's automatically going to be a favorite there. D-Town, baby. Yeah. He's definitely a Dan Campbell type of player. Hey, man, but you got to be happy. You've got to be happy if you're a Detroit Lion fan.
That's
This is a fantastic selection.
right. They didn't know what they were going to do because they wanted Hutchinson. That's who they wanted. And they got their wish. I mean, I think in the last couple of weeks when it was pretty evident that Walker was going to be the number one pick, Detroit was ecstatic because that's their guy. That's who they wanted. And they have a cool logo. I absolutely love the Lions logo.
Hutchinson is unbelievably powerful. Unbelievable. He's a three-stepper. And when I say he's a three-stepper, it means as 3 steps after he explodes off the snap of the ball, he's on the offensive lineman. Doesn't matter how quick they are, he's a three-stepper. He's in the offensive lineman's face. He's so quick. It's tough for them to get their hands up, and it's tough for them to read and react to what the defensive end's doing. I think that he's got a lot of potential. He's a guy who has, you talk about players that have a wide repertoire of defensive moves and defensive pass rush, whether it's a bull rush, power moves, as well as finesse moves. A guy like Hutchinson is this. I think he's a much more polished pass rusher already than Walker is.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first games we did was a live stream was Ohio State, Michigan. And I thought that Ohio State did a really good job against him in that particular game. But like I said, he's got a motor that doesn't quit. And that is so important in the NFL.
The one thing I can think of with Hutchinson is when he gets stalemated by an offensive lineman, when they anchor down, when they get those inside hands and the block kind of stalemates, it kind of takes them a while to process what's the next move. Where's the offensive lineman leaning? What's his weakness at the time period, right? There's a lot of things he does well. He can run the curve, but when he gets stalemated, he struggles a little bit processing what's the next move.
He does have a pretty good hand slap, though.
Oh, for certain. The guy, that's why I said, I think, complete defensive lineman. I think he's there. He's there.
He's a guy who has more than one pass rush move for certain.
Yeah, absolutely he does.
But
absolutely.
now he's not a guy who's going to be able to drop in coverage.
No, like Walker can do that.
That's right. He's more like a traditional 4-3 defensive end, where Walker is, the hybrid edge player of today.
Drew L saying, I hope my Giants pick Akeem Ekwonu. Oof, I hope not. I hope Evan Neal's still on the board at that time period if the Jets determined to pass up on him.
Well, here's, Houston's the first one. The Houston pick is in.
Wow. What the hell? Grumpy, usually they wait the 10 minutes. What is this? Grump, last time, I feel like we waited 10 minutes every single time, and we had so much time to talk about the players.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I don't like when the first round of draft goes 7 hours.
Okay, it went 4 hours. You're going to be. Dimitri P said, who's the player most comparable to Mark Sanchez?
Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett?
Oh, Grunt, that's for you. That's for you. Apparently, Pellick got a serious injury, caught in the back of the leg / ankle accidental. Ooh, not good to see. Not good to see. Salo's skate cut him. Ooh, he couldn't skate off. Oh, my gosh. Banging the stick on the ice. Quickly scored. I hope it's not an Achilles. Oh, man. Grumpy, what's your opinions on Micah Parsons?
Damn good.
He's
damn good.
He's good.
Really good.
I was overcritical of him last year.
You were. I mean, here's the thing. He had a couple of issues.
Misdirection plays he struggled with a bit, I always thought.
Character issues is what caused him to drop in the draft. And the Cowboys were lucky to get him at number 11.
Brett W saying, are the Giants going to go offensive line?
Absolutely.
I would assume. Unless a guy like Kayvon Thibodeaux falls to them, I'd go offensive line. Here's the thing. If you're between Neal and Thibodeaux, you got the best of both worlds. You really do.
Go for the offensive lineman.
What's up, James? How are you?
You go for the offensive lineman. You don't go to the guy who has character issues. You wait to see if he drops to 7.
Okay.
You go for the sure thing with the number 5 overall pick.
The TJ Redcoats. I like this at it, Grumpy. I'm taking bets for how many times TJ used the potty. A $10 minimum. Any takers? Oh, man. Oh, man. What's up, Frank? How are you? Nick D saying, TJ Grumpy, how you guys doing? Islanders up 2-0 tonight. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at the TJ Redcoats, Grumpy. Look at that guy. He's a beautiful man. Look at that TJ Redcoat.
He looked like a hammerhead.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So the Houston pick is in. Where do you think they're going, Houston, with this one, Grump?
Gosh. I guess, you know what? I'm on the fence with them, honestly. I'm going to say they're going to go with Sauce Gardner. cornerback.
Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner.
Name is Sauce.
It's weird for you to say Sauce Gardner, but Ahmad Gardner, yeah, I could see them going with a guy like that. I really could. Ahmad Gardner, I've got my opinions on him. I think he's going to be successful.
Or Icky, one of those two.
Akeem Iguanu, Grumpy.
Yeah, Iguana.
Akeem Iguana. Oh man, I tell you what a reach that would be. I think he's a guy who has talent.
Okay, Daryl Stingley Jr.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Right,
I like that pick. Daryl Stingley Jr. is a guy who I thought was the best corner in this year's draft. He didn't play well in 2020, which was he didn't play well. He played well in 2021, and he was hurt. Right, he got hurt. Only played 4 games in 2021. In 2020, he struggled. That being said, and that's what his
best year was 2019.
His best year was when he won the national championship. That being said, I even have it in my notes on Derek Stingley, right? 6 foot, good size for corner. In 2019, they had Bo Peline, who was the defensive coordinator for LSU. He was a new defensive coordinator that 1 year in 2020, and he was immediately bounced. There were a lot of time periods where it looks like there was blown coverage and misassignments at LSU, and it wasn't just on him. So I wonder if the defense was too complex or they struggled with adapting the new defense. So I look at the struggles. It is worth noting he did struggle in 2020. I will not omit that. I think some of it definitely had to do with the defensive system they were running, which is brand new, and the entire defense struggled with it.
Yes, without a doubt. My whole thing is you're drafting him on upside for certain. And because he is really instinctive. He can close on the ball. He just didn't play well the last year and a half. And that's a concern for me. But if he had played even remotely better the last 2 years, he might have been the first overall pick. You look at where the teams want to draft players high, where you need to be cost conscious, right? Offensive tackle, cornerbacks, quarterbacks, edge rushers. That's why they cost so much in free agency. That's why you're seeing guys reach for players like that.
Well, and here's the thing too. He had the Liz Frank injury. That's that bone in your foot. He got the Liz Frank injury. I thought he looked fine in 2021, right? It was the very start of the season. He still ran an unbelievable 40, which I think also helped him. Right? Another one of those guys who ran a 4.37 40-yard dash at Pro Day, which is unbelievable after he recovered. It wasn't the combine, so it was hand timed, worth taking that into account. That being said, he covers people like he's got a blanket on him. He played Devontae Smith in 2019 and 2020. Played him well both games, but it seemed like Devontae Smith was able to get the better of him on a consistent basis. Those were the games where they had played LSU, and Devontae Smith, who was again an early first-round pick, a Heisman finalist for Alabama. He's now with the Eagles. This last year was his rookie year. He made unbelievable, fantastic catches, and it always seemed to be against Derek Stingley, Grump.
Yeah, like I said, but. I understand why they picked him, why they went cornerback. It was him or Sauce Gardner. Honestly, I thought it was going to be Gardner because he was really good this year in that Cincinnati defense, which was really good, albeit against lesser competition. Now, the Jets are next on the clock, right? I have them going for an offensive tackle. Do you want to know why? Because I don't think much of Mekhi Becton. I mean, I think we have some film on Beckham, don't we, TJ?
No, we don't, Grump. Don't worry. Guess what? I took. You can all you want. The announcer seems surprised. So, well, that's definitely something. The announcer seems surprised there. I like the pick. I think he's a guy who's got unbelievable high upside. He played against top end receivers game in and game out at LSU too. That's also worth saying it, right? He's battle tested. A guy like Ahmad Gardner. I know he played Notre Dame. Notre Dame had great wide receivers. He played against Alabama. Alabama ran the ball down their throats all game long, and they played Houston. The level of competition, I think, hurt Ahmad Gardner's draft stock on this particular one.
Yeah, well, like I said, Stingley Jr. got drafted high based on film from 2 years ago. So you're hoping, but it's Houston. So the bust potential is certainly there.
Oh, my
I'm just saying.
I think that's a good pick for them. I really do.
And the Jets pick, by the way, the Jets pick is in.
Oh, man.
They're not announcing it right now, but a lot of people are saying offensive tackle because they think that Becton is too fat, out of shape, can't stay on the field. And they got to protect Zach Wilson. Number one most important thing, got to protect the quarterback.
Hey, if you're looking offensive tackle, it's Evan Neal.
Or it's going to be Icky.
Yeah, Akeem. I don't know what's tough about his name, Grumpy. Akeem Ekwonu is it would be a miserable selection if you draft him over Evan Neal. It would be a typical freaking Jets selection if they draft him over Evan Neal. If you're a Jets fan, I want you to throw anything you've got out of the house if they draft Akeem Ekwonu over Evan Neal. Simple as that. Okay. I need to see rage. I'm going to be angry. I'm not a Jets fan, but I'd be angry for the Jets if that's the case.
But this, honestly, so far the draft has broken perfectly for the New York teams. They're both going to be able to get offensive tackles at 4 and 5.
Why no? Akeem Ekwonu is not a 5th overall type of guy.
Okay. It's not. Here's the thing. You keep saying that, but you know what? Consensus differs from you in that regard.
I don't care what the talking heads say. I can watch the film, and I can tell you whether he should be there or not.
Okay. I guarantee you he'll be gone within the next 2 picks. Oof. That much you can guarantee. It's a guarantee, right?
Alexander's saying, hey, guys, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Doing well, Alexander. Hope you are too. TJ Redcoat said, it's Tony. Sorry, sometimes I forget him in character. Tony Cheese. How much work did you put in that one, Tony Cheese? I look like you put some work into you preparing for the NFL Draft podcast. I like it. Not a good pick by the Texans. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I know why they drafted him, but I didn't think he'd go that high. He had been sliding down draft boards as the process, went on.
Because he didn't have much game film to show from this year, and
because he didn't play well this year.
He played 4 games and got injured. What are you not understanding?
But he wasn't great in those 4 games. He was not great. He was fantastic in 2019. He was tremendous in 2019.
Let's see who he played. I'm not even sure.
I'm a little bit disappointed that you're not showing our film on Mekhi Becton and McDonald's.
I'm not even worried about that because I'm worried about other
things. We're here to entertain. That's entertaining.
Okay.
It shows you why they're going to pick an offensive tackle here at number 4. Let's see. The pick is in. Roger Goodell walking up to the podium. Who's it going to be, TJ? Neal or Icky?
I hope it's Neal. For the Giants, I'm a Giants fan, so I hope it's actually not Neal.
The Jets draft Sauce Gardner at number 4.
Not a bad selection. Maybe they felt like he fell to him as well. Ahmad Gardner is a guy who had played extremely well this last year. A guy who's unbelievably versatile as well. I mean, you look at him, right? 6'3", ran a 4.4 140. He's got size as well. He's quick enough to cover those guys in the slot. He's big enough to cover wide receivers out wide, and he's got that ability to prevent any type of jump ball threat. Sauce Gardner, Ahmad Gardner he's another. I believe you're breaking down who's a valuable player, who's going to pan out. I think a guy like Sauce Gardner can pan out for certain.
Yeah, I don't like that pick for the Jets. Absolutely not. That's a pick for Robert Saleh. You need to protect your quarterback. Period. You have to protect your quarterback. Nothing more important than protecting the quarterback when you finally have one.
They believe in Mekhi Becton.
Ding, 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 ding. We saw him in McDonald's. Show the McDonald's clip. Bring it up. We have him from McDonald's. We have Mekhi Becton. And yes, he was able to manhandle the guy in McDonald's. Absolutely was. Where is the film?
Grump, you honestly think now I'm pulling for it because you keep fucking bitching about it.
All right. I was talking to you about it. You wouldn't show it. You said we're going to show it on draft day. And now you're trying to jake out of it.
Who gives a shit, Grumpy?
Everybody wants to watch that. That's the good stuff right there.
That's the good stuff. Give me a sec. God almighty.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Sauce Gardner pick at all.
Why not?
All. Here we go. Here's Mekhi Becton.
You happy? Is that what you're looking for, Grump?
Look, he's able to shove the guy down, but hey, look at the way he throws him around. That Mekhi Becton, but see, a little overweight Mekhi Becton. When the most positive thing you can say about Mekhi Becton's offseason that he's under 400 pounds, that I don't like that. He's too fat. He's too fat and injury prone. They need another offensive tackle.
Okay.
He's got eat himself out of football potential. You mentioned about the other. This guy absolutely has eat himself out of football potential.
Let's talk about Ahmad Gardner, and you could just stare and just get giddy over this little clip as you know you wanted to.
Becton.
Okay, here's the thing. Ahmad Gardner as well. The competition questions are certainly there. Played Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't have a fantastic receiving core. Played Bama. Might I add, though, Bama was running the ball at will on him. He shut down receivers at Bama, right? You look at the limited reps. It was only, I think, like 20 some odd passing reps. He played well in coverage on those 20 some odd reps, but there definitely is competition questions. He's quick and has those fluid hips as well. He was beat a few times by Jamison Williams. He was. That being said, he's put together a very, very steady work. I know it's not against top competition, but I think he's a very safe selection there.
See, now Mel Kiper is going on and on how they should have drafted the tackle, and he's right. He's absolutely 100% right.
I don't think Evan Neal's a bad pick there either. But I mean, do you believe in Mekhi Becton? It sounds like the Jets believe in Mekhi Becton, right, wrong, or indifferent.
You could kick him inside.
Wow.
There's reasons why the Jets are losers. This is the reason. You have a chance. What's the most important position in sports? Most important position in sports. What is it?
What, Grumpy? What's the most position?
Quarterback. Quarterback. You must protect your quarterback. Period. They had an opportunity to get the best offensive lineman off the board, and they blew it. They blew it.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Zach Wilson was running for his life last year.
He was.
Mekhi Becton can't stay on the field. 2 years in the league, 2 years can't stay on the field. Too fat. The most positive thing that came out was from his nutritionist saying he's under 400 pounds. What is he, a biscuit under 400? So what's he, 399 and a half? It just tells me it's not like he's 360. He's probably 398. It's just you have an opportunity and you blew it.
Alexander's saying here, Stingley, nobody had him going in the top 5. And Wicker saying about the Houston pick, I don't know, TJ. Time will tell. I think it might have been a reach. Houston has a lot of needs, though. For certain they do. Oh, here we go. Frank saying, that's sad. If the Jets take a left tackle because of that lazy bastard Mekhi Becton. TJ Redcoat said, it's hard to justify the time I spend on these Photoshops. And the Jets throwing up Sauce Gardner. I freaking hate DB. Nice pick for the Jets. I don't think it's a bad pick. It'll be interesting to see what they do at 10. I personally, I think they look at the remaining corners on the board and they say, well, Derek Stingley's already taken off. We hoped he maybe would fall, but he didn't. So now they're saying, who's the next best corner?
McDuffie.
The kid, what? Yeah, McDuffie, the kid from Washington. The kid from Washington is also like 5'11". So he's a guy who's really good in zone coverage. He's a guy who could cover slots, but that's about it. Maybe they need a corner unbelievably bad.
So instead of getting beat 50-0 because you can't protect your quarterback, they'll get beat 48-0 or 42-0, right? Because if you can't protect your quarterback, you can't score. Period. It was bad. That was bad. Really bad. Dumb. Stupid. Mekhi Becton going to be back on the fat farm with probably a broken foot. Who knows? The Giants are picking right now.
It should be a no-brainer Evan Neal at this selection. If they do anything else, if they pick Akeem Ekwonu, I'm going to throw – I don't know what I'm going to throw. I'll bust something in half. It'd be the dumbest selection they could possibly make.
If you keep quiet, I can tell you who the selection is.
You can't look with your eyes, Grump.
I like to hear it as it comes up. I like to actually hear the name.
Dun, 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 dun.
They got some guy up here. I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Yeah,
stop talking, please.
You want? What do you want? What do you want to hear all the banter they've got going on?
No, they got some kid up here. He looks like he's a kid. He's in a suit that's 2 sizes too small. He's skinny. I don't know what. Maybe he's a fan. I don't know, but he looks bad.
Thank you for that one, Grump. The conference sauce played. It might have hurt him. Yeah. The conference he played in did hurt him on for certain. Oh man, I tell you, but not happy with the corner pick is what it seems like right now. It's already bad for the Jets. Sauce Gardner went the wrong way to meet the commissioner. Oh God. Oh man.
Okay, the Giants select Kayvon Thibodeaux.
All righty. I'm happy with that one. You know what? I'm fine with Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeaux is a good defensive lineman. Guess what?
Return a bust.
You're gonna get Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal. Right now it looks like you're gonna get both Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal. And as a Giants fan, I'm freaking
I just want to tell you the silly little. Let me tell you something. What did I tell you about Thibodeaux? He doesn't really care about football. He doesn't. Watching the silly little costume that he's wearing up there right now just proves everything I thought. It's all about him. He's got some silly little outfit with a tuxedo with little red glitters along the lapel. My God. Stop embarrassing yourself. He thinks he's all that and a can of beans, this kid.
All that in a bag of chips is how that saying goes.
Well, no, he's a can of beans.
He's
not a bag of chips. He's a can of beans.
That's how the saying goes. Anyway, here's the thing, Grump. Guess what? That's a good pick by the Giants. And because I can promise you this, the Panthers are not going to draft Evan Neal. I'd be shocked if they did. This is where things get, I think, a little interesting. What do the Carolina Panthers do? The Giants could get Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal at number 5 and number 7. I think the Giants walk out as an ultimate winner in this first round. Unbelievable winners in the first round. Unbelievable.
Okay. You're much higher on Thibodeaux than I am because even his coaches, he takes a lot of plays off. That's the worst. That's the worst thing you want to hear from a coach. He takes plays off.
6'4", 254, could add some weight, a 4.58 40-yard dash. He's got a good punch too, Grumpy. He creates that initial separation, has got the good dip and the rip with him, got good
ultimate me guy. Look at him. Look at him coming out here. Oh my, he's all about him. This guy's all about himself.
New York. He's meant for New York, Grump.
Dancing. He's look at me. I'm doing the posing. He's doing this with Goodell. Yeah, this guy bust plus.
You know what happens when you're wrong? 5 years from now, when you're freaking
5 years from now, you won't even remember his name. And here he's fooling around with the skinny little kid in the suit.
Here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen, Grump. Take a second. 5 years from now, you're gonna come back just like you said with Jordan Dave. Oh no, I said Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to be great. Okay. What are you talking about? I said Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to be great. It's what you do. You manipulate anything you're wrong on and just bullshit.
Here's the thing.
What is it, Grump? It's a Make-A-Wish kid, Grump. So let's stop making fun of the little small scrawny kid. He's probably dying of something, Grump.
Oh, I didn't know he's a Make-A-Wish kid. I had no idea. Like I said, I don't have the sound on. So
you just said you wanted to hear the pick, Grump. Do you have the sound on? Can you?
Yeah, but I'm not listening to the background.
Anyway, what do you want to tell me, Grump? Go ahead and put it on me, huh?
For me, I just don't see that as a big. I mean, and they will get a tackle. They'll get
Evan Neal
or Evan Neal.
They're going to get Evan Neal. The Panthers, I'd be shocked if they drafted a tackle. Shocked.
They're looking at the families of Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis right now.
I wonder, you have to figure probably the quarterback goes off the board, right? I mean, Sam Darnold's not the answer there. The Carolina Panthers don't have the quarterback answer. I think here's something bold. I think this may be Kenny Pickett. Matt Rule, how long do you think Matt Rule has a job for if they don't make
1 year?
That's what I got.
1 year period.
They need a quarterback who's more polished, I think. That's the reason why I think the only reason if Kenny Pickett's drafted here, that's the way they could justify it. They needed the quarterback who was more polished. I don't think Malik Willis has a lot to go to. He's got a lot of holes in his game. Simple as that.
Okay. All I'm going to say about Thibodeaux is he talked that the Giants were asking him a lot of tough questions, and he didn't really like answering them. They were asking him questions about, his drive and his will to play football. He didn't like that. He didn't think that was appropriate.
You know what that sounds like? This sounds like a typical Grumpy BS nonsense.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
He's making this shit up.
And here's the thing, right? Physically, probably the most talented guy in the draft.
He is.
Going into the year or going into the process earlier in the season, people were saying he's consensus number 1, Hutchinson number 2. That's what they were saying. His interviews were so bad, that's what caused him to drop.
He was battling through a foot injury all year long. People say, oh, he's lazy. He was battling through a foot injury all year long. All year for Oregon. He is an unbelievable defensive end. Simple as that.
He doesn't play the run at all.
Yeah, he does struggle a bit against the run. He's a great pass rusher. The run and stopping the run do leave question marks. That's the weakness of his game.
So what do you do for a guy? What do you do when you have a guy like that? You run right at him.
Run right at him. Let me ask you this. Does the NFL run 40 times a game? The answer to that is no. Do they run even 30
You
times
don't
a
have to
game?
run. You don't
The
have to
answer to
run
that's
40
no.
times a game. You just make sure you run at him, because if he has to defend the run, he won't have the juice to rush the passer.
Silly.
Okay. You see it over and over again in the NFL. Maybe you don't watch any games.
I
But
do. I do watch games, Grump. Here's the thing. I'll put it to you as simple as this. It's not the question. You have the questions of, oh, does he have the motivation? Does he have the effort? Dude, I cannot tell you how many times defensive ends get branded as it, and it's all BS. Guess what? Defensive ends and defensive linemen are not designed to be out there every single play of every single series. It's just not the case. Occasionally, you have to sub them in and out.
then you definitely go for the offensive lineman there. You think, okay, do you think that he was a chance to go to the Panthers? No.
I don't know what the Panthers are going to do. I could see them not even selecting quarterback here. The Panthers are a huge question mark team at this time period. I don't think either quarterback warrants, at the 6th overall selection. So what do they do? Maybe they thought Kayvon Thibodeaux was an unbelievable talent and they were going to draft him. Who the hell knows? I would be shocked if they go offensive line, but I really have no idea with the Panthers here.
Okay, the Panthers' issue is not defensive end. The Panthers' issue is quarterback and offensive line. That's where they need help. Do they go quarterback here? Maybe. I don't know. But I guarantee you they're going to draft an offensive lineman if it's not the quarterback.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see, Grump. Maybe they go Akeem Ekwonu because he's a local boy. He's from NC State, played high school football at Providence Day in North Carolina, but in North Carolina in high school, college, and maybe they just say, oh, we've got that hankering that we love him. Icky he's a good old North Carolina boy. We've got to draft him. So maybe, who the heck knows, Grump? This is the big question mark for this draft. That yet some teams that have question marks around them. This is the first question mark I've got.
Well, the pick is in. And Malik Willis is just sitting there looking at his phone. So I'm going to say it wasn't him who's getting picked right now.
And here's the thing. If you're not seeing Kenny Pickett high-fiving people, or he's not at the draft, right? He's at home.
No, he's in New Jersey right now. And they're looking at Kenny Pickett. It looks like he's quiet too. So I don't think he was picked either. Just looking at his demeanor and his face.
So you think it could be offensive line?
It's going to be offensive line, I think.
Let's get through a few comments as we're waiting for that pick to come in. Joseph C says here, the Jets said a lot to improve their offensive line this offseason. You don't move a guy like Becton to guard if he's healthy. I agree.
Well, if he can't play the position, you move him anywhere you can.
Mel Kiper looks like he's going to fall asleep, says TJ Ray Coach. Grumpy. Let's make a quick catch. Drew L says, you know what? I'll take Kayvon Thibodeaux. You and me both. Oh, no, the kid is way too pumped up for a post-op heart surgery. Oh, man. Gotcha.
He was jumping all over the damn place.
He's excited. I'm excited about that pick, too. The Wicker Man says here, this is the Giants, an edge rusher. I agree with Grumpy. This is for the Giants, an edge rusher. I agree with Grumpy. Great pick by the Giants. I like the pick, too. The kid just took 10 years off his life celebrating that pick, says TJ Redcoat. Oh, man.
He was just picked for the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, my God. What a bad pick. The Panthers. Holy shit.
Now, here's the thing. He's wearing a silly little costume, too, white, with little red stripes on one lapel, and then on his arms, he's got green. Green and yellow. I don't know what he looks like. An ice cream.
Okay. I got you. Tell me what you're going to tell me about the actual pick, Grump.
I think it's a good pick. It's
not the best offensive lineman.
Okay, he has more upside on the offensive line.
No, he does not.
Okay, you say that. I think Evan Neal is a finished product.
Here's the thing. Let me pull up on Akeem Ekwonu. 6'4", 4.93, right? He runs a good 40-yard dash. Raw with his technique, Grump. Unbelievably raw. And pass blocking, that specifically, right? You talk about it. His shoulders stay square on the second level. He's mean and physical, right? When you're talking about run blocking. That's good. He can work those through blocks. His pass pro is unbelievable. Kick slide is sloppy too. It gets clunky at times. And here's the way I look at this too. Look at the film where he played Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, projected to be a top 10 pick. Jermaine Johnson made him look like a freaking fool at times, an absolute fool. I don't know. This is not the right offensive line.
Here's the thing. He finishes plays. He's a finisher.
He leans when he run blocks. All they're going to show you is the highlight. He leans when he run blocks. He doesn't use his freaking hands. When I see every single pass block, a helmet of the defender hitting the helmet of Icky, that is not good. He is unbelievably athletic, and he can anchor and readjust back down. He does not use his hands, and he leans when he run blocks. You talk about all the keys and recipe for a guy who fizzles out. Those are the things. He's got so many items he needs to improve on. Raw, unbelievably athletic, doesn't have a punch, leans when he run blocks. Yikes. Yikes, 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 Panther fans. Yikes.
Okay. I think more highly of him than you do, obviously.
I think he may be a guard. I think he may actually project to be a guard.
All I know is he finishes his blocks.
He does. I don't give a shit if he finishes blocks. I want to make sure he's driving his feet. He does drive his feet on contact. That's good. But here's the thing. I don't care if he pancakes guys. I need you to be able to position. I need you to be able to move guys. I need you to use your freaking hands. It's the biggest thing for him. Use your hands and don't freaking lean. It's not a bad pick, but you had Evan Neal on the board, and I'm upset with the Panthers. The Giants, I'm happy. You're good. Evan Neal's falling right into your lap. You're getting the better offensive lineman, and I really believe Carolina makes this pick because Akeem Ekwonu played for NC State.
And the Giants pick is in. What if they go for instead of going? Maybe what if they go for Charles Cross?
No, another no. Charles, what a reach that would be. Evan Neal is the best offensive lineman in this year's draft class. The highest ceiling, the lowest floor. He is the best offensive lineman in this draft class. It would be foolish not to select him. Foolish, Grump. I'm going to sit here. And just freaking be waiting for the Giants. Do not screw this up. Oh.
Well, I'm glad that I will be announcing this pick for you. And I'll know before you. The pick is in. The Giants are on the clock. The pick is in. Are they going to go? You know, usually what they do when the Giants are on the clock, they usually go to a commercial.
Wickerman says Sam Darnold is the answer, I guess. LOL. Yeah. Ugh.
No, they could still be in the running for Baker Mayfield. They're saying that the market is starting to heat up for Mayfield, and the Panthers are involved. I could absolutely see Baker Mayfield going to the Carolina Panthers.
I could see Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis falling away off the board.
They have some giant hippie fan. He's got a thing that says Neal, and he's putting it on his forehead. I mean, that should be the pick, honestly. But you notice we're seeing the Kyle Hamilton slide already.
Oh, okay. Well, he's a safety. Oh, we didn't talk about this on the show. We talked about this before the show. He's a safety. He does, he's 6'4". He does good man coverage. So actually, we did maybe talk about this early, but he's a safety, man.
You know what I like the NFL. The hypocrisy of the NFL. Right, gambling is a big no-no. It's in all the locker rooms. No gambling. They're doing this in Las Vegas, and the background for all these teams are like a deck of playing cards. Giants playing cards, Panthers playing cards, Jets playing cards. I mean, isn't that kind of wrong if you're saying no to gambling and you're talking about doing card games? Just saying.
I could see a quarterback really falling and slipping there, Wicker Man. I really could. And Akeem Ekwonu looks like Idi Amin. I have no idea who that is in that suit. No idea. That means Sam Darnold is the quarterback. Yeah.
Well, just for now. Evan Neal has not been picked by the New York. No, he was picked by the New York Giants at number 7.
You about had me. I about died of a conniption and like a coronary heart attack, Grumpy. You can't be screwing with me like that.
What I like about Evan Neal?
The Giants have had don't even care who else slides. The Giants are in front runner for A+ grade of the first round of the draft this year. Unbelievable. Good move.
I just want to say one thing about Evan Neal. I like him because he's not dressed as some type of clown coming out of the back. He's just dressed in a suit.
Who cares?
Looks good. I care. You shouldn't have.
Is that how you determine if the pick is good? If the people are dressed in a normal suit, a black suit with a black tie, like a black tie event.
You know what that means?
Great pick, baby, Evan Neal.
I'll tell you what though, his feet are not great. The Iwono kid has better feet than him.
Bullshit. Evan Neal does have good feet. What do you mean? Oh, Grumpy, it's Akeem Ekwonu. But I'm telling you, Evan Neal has good feet, Grump. This is a great selection. 6'7", aggressive with his punch. You talk about a guy who's got the punch. This kid has a punch. You don't have to worry. Oh, is he going to be a guy who always leans his entire career? Is he going to be a guy who can convert weight room strength to on the field strength? Icky's one of those. That's not the case with Evan Neal. He has the freaking conversion. He's got the aggressive punch, active freaking hands. Grump, that I cannot tell you how important it is for an offensive lineman.
Okay. Like I said, I'm happy for the Giants. I think that's a really good pick for them. I like the fact that he didn't think he had to come out in some type of costume, particularly as an offensive lineman.
You want to talk about a guy who is go ahead, Grump. Get your extra statement out. He is what? He's a classy guy. Is that what you're about to say at the end?
No, he's a work pail guy. He's not thinking about himself. He's a team guy.
Yeah.
Those are the type of guys you want. You want lunch pail guys on your offensive line. You don't want the guys, hey, I got to worry about what I'm wearing to the draft. No. You're an offensive lineman. 3
years Alabama, played guard, then right tackle his sophomore year, then left tackle his senior year. A guy who's played on both sides of the ball, a guy who honestly does a good job of picking up twists, does a good job at staying on the same level as the guard, good job communicating, good job passing off twists. He is a guy, when he notices a defensive lineman leaning, he is a great job recognizing, I'm going to chop the arm down and lay on top of him. He does. You talk about his pass pro, it's very refined. You talk about his footwork, maybe he's not as athletic as Icky is getting out in space. I'm not doubting that, but I think that he is a more finished product, and I think that what is your stereotypical, right, toll booth offensive lineman, a guy who moves well enough to where he gets on the second level, but also has an unbelievable punch. This kid has it all.
Okay, I like the pick. First of all, I like the pick. Speed rushers are going to give him a problem.
He's got a good kick slide.
Okay. Speed rushers are going to give hhim a problem. And here's the thing, but I like the pick. Don't get me wrong, but this kid's not an all pro to come out and start. I'm just going by what I've seen. Okay. I haven't watched as much film as you. He leans a little bit. He
does lean a bit.
He leans a little bit, which is not good. And he doesn't.
A little bit.
Speed rusher is going to give him a problem. That said, I like the pick. The big problem with the Giants is they don't have a quarterback.
I don't think he's great in open space, Evan Neal, right? You look at him on screens, he struggles at times. He does lean a bit. He leans. If you look at the guys that are going to be drafted offensive linemen in his first round, he leans the least, but he does lean a bit, right? In years past, we have guys who don't lean at all, guys who are really, really steadfast. Evan Neal leans a bit. It's true. This is not a Penei Sewell. This is not a guy who, is unbelievable talent. This is not a Tristan Wirfs. This guy leans a bit. Simple. But I think he's, of this year's draft class, I think he's the best offensive lineman.
Okay, so now where do you go with Atlanta? Because Atlanta's on the clock now.
Yikes. I don't know where Atlanta goes.
I mean,
this is good, girl.
Is this where you think the quarterback starts?
I don't know. This could be one of these where it's just a throw up pick, right? Because you think to yourself, they could use offensive linemen, right? Now you've got Akeem Ekwonu off the board. You've got Evan Neal off the board. I could see them going with defensive end. I could see them going Jermaine Johnson. I could see him going Charles Cross. And I don't think Charles Cross is a great selection here, but you get into an odd position. If I'm picking a guy who I think is next best talent on the board, I think Jermaine Johnson's up there. Unbelievable last year, when he had his first full season to play, because he originally transferred from Georgia and he transferred to Florida State, and he was a menace. He was a menace to those ACC offensive linemen, an absolute menace last year.
I tell you what, I just love the speed with this draft is going.
Why are you saying that?
I just like how it's going fast because the Atlanta pick is in now.
Good. That's all I see. TJ Redcoat's also saying the Panthers have $18 million of cap space with Darnold. Are they going to trade for Mayfield?
I think they could trade for Mayfield. I don't think they're happy with Darnold going into the season.
Alexander says he could see maybe Kenny Pickett going to Philly.
Very possible. That's what I'm hearing.
That's right. Evan Neal. I'm excited, guys. I saw the comments. I'm excited. James F said the Giants are nuts if they give their quarterback Daniel Jones a 5th-year option. Yeah, they're dumb. They wouldn't do that.
Okay, the Atlanta pick is in. It is Drake London, wide receiver from USC.
Oh my God. You want to talk about a guy who was drafted a little earlier than they thought. Now, here's the thing. Drake London is a guy who's big, right? He was a basketball player. He played both sports in high school, played basketball for USC also. He really turned it on his senior year. Because remember, in 2020, the Pac-12 played the least games out of any other college conference. They only played like 5 or 6 games. He didn't get a huge sample size. He played extremely well this last year. You look at it, I think he had 88 receptions in 8 or 11 games that he played. He's a big target, 6'4". The issue I have with him is, what does his speed look like? He's got good foot quickness, right, which makes him open and available on those short routes. His speed and top-end speed isn't there. He didn't run at Pro Day, didn't even run a 40-yard dash. We have no idea what his 40-yard dash time is.
Okay, for me, he's one of those guys who doesn't get a whole lot of separation. Now, I like the way he carries himself. He seems like he's mature, but he does not get a whole lot of separation. He's good at those contested catches, but if you're not getting separation in college, I find it difficult to imagine you getting separation in the pros. I mean, it just doesn't happen. They're drawing comparisons between him and Vincent Jackson, who unfortunately passed away in the last 6-7 months, as a comparison. But I mean, he just doesn't get a whole lot of separation, which is a concern for me, particularly for a top 10 pick. I'm surprised, honestly, and I was going to bring him up. Jameson Williams, even though he's going to be out for the majority of the year with knee injury, he's so much the better overall wide receiver than Drake London. If you're a team like Atlanta who doesn't have a quarterback, Marcus Mariota is your quarterback, next season is going to be a losing proposition. Why don't you go for the best wide receiver, even if he's going to miss the year?
Here's what I look at it, right? Because Atlanta is so far away. This is the way I look at it. You could have gone Garrett Wilson. I would have been happy. I would have been happier with a guy like Olave. I had Drake. Was that
way too high for Olave?
I had. Well, here's the thing. I had Drake London. I'm not saying they should have gone there. I had Drake London as the fourth wideout, right? Garrett Wilson I had over him. I look at it. I look Jameson Williams. I had over him too. I had Olave in London close. Here's the thing I worry about Drake London. Gets very little separation, right? He's good on a jump ball threat. I think, is needed. He needs an unbelievable quarterback. He needs a guy who's really, really developed at a back shoulder throw. He contests and he grabs those back shoulder throws like nobody's business. He doesn't have enough speed to open up with double moves and create separation. And in the NFL, you're going to be playing against faster and quicker guys in corners in the NFL than you were in college. So, you talk about limited separation in college. He's going to have even more limited separation in the NFL. You have to have, he's got to go to the right system if he's going to be successful. I can promise you that much. And I'm not sure that's it with Atlanta.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, that's always an issue. I think of N'Keal Harry. He was great at contested catches. Yeah, he doesn't get a whole lot of separation. It's not like it's going to get better in the pros.
Here's the thing with Drake London, though. His foot speed is quick, right? I think his foot speed is quick enough to have an occasional snap at the slot receiver. Hear that, Grump? I think his foot speed is quick enough to occasionally. He ran that in college. He occasionally had those reps at the slot receiver. I'm saying he could do that occasionally in the NFL. I really do believe that. Here's the thing, though. For a big guy, he gets jammed and pressed at the line of scrimmage way too easily. 6'4", and that's one thing I noticed. Right when I watched his game, sometimes he get pressed at the line of scrimmage. I'm like, what's going on? Against Utah, just gets completely shut down at the line of scrimmage. I'm like, you can't have that happen, man. You're 6'4".
Yeah, like I said,
He's a good blocker. He does a lot of things well, but I worry he's one of those stereotypical big wide receivers, like you mentioned, N'Keal Harry. The list goes on. Dwayne Jarrett. The list goes on. And I think Dwayne Jarrett, because he played at USC, a big wide receiver that isn't necessarily fast, who wins jump ball contested passes. If you can't create separation in the way the league is now, you really have to be in you have to be in a team that runs the system where, hey, we're going to be loading up a whole bunch of jump balls, and our quarterback does really great wonders with, back shoulder throws. Marcus Mariota is not that guy.
True. They need a quarterback. Like I said,
I would have gone Garrett Wilson or Williams in that pick.
I would have went with Williams. That's the guy I would have went with, honestly. But you know what? Let's not talk about Drake London anymore.
Drake London doesn't look happy, he says. This means that Calvin Ridley will not be re-signed, says Alexander.
Well, here's the thing. They lost Russell Gage in the offseason. Calvin Ridley, obviously, he's got,
he's gone for another year with the gambling. With the gambling, he's out for the season.
That's right. I totally forgot about
the gambling, right? The gambling, it's half the season or the whole season. I don't even remember what it is, but he's gone for at least half the year, and he had the personal issues, and he gambled, and it's half the season he's gone at least.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have any weapons, but you don't have a quarterback. To me, They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league next year. Why are you? I would just went for the higher end talent. That's what I would have done. That's me. What can I tell you? Seattle's pick is it right now. They're doing a commercial. Is this where the first quarterback goes?
I don't know. Oh,
I mean, they need a lot of things.
they do. And I feel bad for whatever quarterback gets strapped in Seattle. I mean, you still do have DK Metcalf. The offensive line's not great either. They're almost in full on rebuild, in my opinion, Grump. And you're in a situation where I don't think these quarterbacks are both very boom and bust quarterbacks. You know, in years past, you get a guys that you feel kind of safe that, hey, the chance of him being a boom are much higher than a chance of him being a bust. These guys are 50-50, and I'd say that the chance of them busting actually may be a little higher. I like Kenny Pickett. I mean, I like the University of Pittsburgh, but I don't know, man. It's going to be tough to see success for either one of these quarterbacks if drafted going to these to go into Seattle. You know, you look at the weapons around them. So DK Metcalf still is there, but Seattle's in rebuild mode.
I mean, do you see Jermaine Johnson going here?
I had Jermaine Johnson, perhaps. I like Jermaine Johnson. I like what he did. I liked his reps, and I thought he had an unbelievable senior season. The guy I mentioned just transferred from Georgia, and he's like, okay, I'm transferring as a junior. I'm transferring over, and it really paid off for him. Paid dividends.
Yeah, I mean, I need offensive linemen, so maybe this is where Charles Cross goes. But I want to say Jermaine Johnson's probably my pick. I just can't see him picking a quarterback.
I can't either. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to slip, and I said I think Kenny Pickett's going to slip into the 20s. You
said he was going to be a top 10 pick.
Originally, I did. That's correct. I did originally.
What did I say?
As of recent, hold on. I think if he had adequate hands, I think I said this on the show, if he had larger hands, he would have gone in the top 10. I think everybody sees his hand size and says, no freaking thank you.
I think what they say is
longer and different. That's what they say.
I think what they say is he's a guy who has a higher floor but a low ceiling. I mean, and you're not going to burn a top. I don't think you're going to burn the top 10 pick on a guy like that.
James F says, why is nobody talking about the quarterback Strong from Nevada? Maybe the Raiders can pick him if he falls into their lap.
No way.
Islanders up 3-0. The Raiders believe in Carr too much. They're not going to take a quarterback unless it's a late round pick. And plays for Nevada. That's why.
Seattle has made their pick, and it is Charles Cross, the offensive tackle out of Mississippi State. Like I said, they need offensive line help. They absolutely did. I don't have a problem with that. They don't have a quarterback. So let's build up the offensive line. I think it's almost a guarantee now, don't you, that the Jets are going to get Jermaine Johnson.
Well, do you remember? Well, man, oh man, I wonder if the Jets can be kicking themselves now. Or do they go way off the board and they pick a guy like Penning? You know what I mean? Like, is right now the run on offensive line? Remember how we said a guy could really slip?
They're not drafting an offensive lineman now. Absolutely not. They will not. It's either going to be Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, in my opinion, or Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. Those are your two options.
I got on Charles Cross, 6'5", 4.95, 40-yard dash. Good pass pro.
Very good.
Good kick. I did like his kick. He has no punch in pass pro. And
you can develop that though. You can develop.
He's young. He is young, right? He's a redshirt sophomore, I believe.
Yeah. He's really athletic. He moves his feet really, really well. Really well.
I think he's got great feet. I do. No pass and pass pro though, which is an issue. He opens up his hips. I notice sometimes the speed rushers, he opens up his hips a little early. You're susceptible then to your inside power rush move. That's going to eat you up. But that's one of those things I noticed too about him. For
me, guys that are athletic can develop. You can develop a punch. You can't get, if you don't have, if you're a little stiff in the lower body, you're never going to get better at that. Yeah. This kid, I like what I see from him.
He's has wide hands on every single one of his punches. And here's the thing: in bull rushes,
that's technique.
Okay, it's getting an actual compact punch is a lot easier said than done.
That's technique, I'll tell you, though. That's technique.
Some guys can go their entire career and never learn how to effectively punch a guy.
I'll take a guy with athletic ability who can move his feet. And you can teach technique as opposed to a guy who's cemented into the ground. You can walk around. I will tell you this too, right?
He, even with a shitty punch, I think he gets pushed back a little easy in my liking on bull rush move. He's susceptible to getting moved around a bit. He does move his feet after initial contact, and that's why he's able to stay glued. He could win despite having no punch, and again, despite his helmet. Again, he's another one of those guys where the helmet hits a defensive ends, an outside linebacker's helmet hits his helmet before his hands actually get put on the defensive lineman. But he's so athletic, and he moves his feet after contact well. He's able to readjust himself and get himself back in a position to win. And
That's right.
that is special, right? That is special. But there's so many holes, though.
That's what I mean. Okay, it's technique work, but he has all the physical attributes. I think that's a good deal.
He's got no mean streak. I don't like to, oversell the mean streak factor, right? Some of the offensive linemen have mean streaks, and that has moved them off the board just because they're so violent and they finish blocks. There's no mean streak with a guy like Charles Cross. And there's no issue with that. I don't need my offensive lineman to have a mean streak.
Your left tackle doesn't need to do that. He just needs to make sure he can pass protect.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Jets are up. They are clapping their hands. The pick is in. They're ecstatic.
Oh, man.
Whoever they picked, they have big smiles. And remember, the Jets brought in the Buffalo Bills crew. Joe Schoen, and Brian Daboll. So obviously they knew what they were doing up in Buffalo, drafting the last few years. The Giants fans are happy. You got some goof here. I don't know what.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Can we get some comments, or if you're just going to talk about what the fans are doing? Because I want to make sure we're doing that. Yeah, whole season. I think Tyler Lockett's also there. Aho smashing the board. Ouch. He can't create separation in college. Talking about Drake London, but maybe the Falcons see that there's a reason why he isn't getting separation. I don't know. I don't know. I was undersized for sure. He is. I think they draft defense. And I actually like Seattle's pick, says Drew L. It's a school that Pickett went to, talking about Pittsburgh, and that's why Willis is a bigger gamble. He went to Liberty with the higher upside, I think. Guys, don't be shocked if Drew Lock has a breakout year this year with Seattle.
Doubtful. Here's the thing. I guess this is the end of the Deebo Samuel conversation for the Jets. He'll be back with San Francisco next year.
Yep. Yeah. So
because if they were going to make a move from him, it would have included the number 10 overall pick.
I would figure that as well. And Elijah Moore in some capacity. The Wickerman says, I think Seattle has a card up their sleeves and has a quarterback that they want to get in the third or fourth round. Perhaps. Maybe
they're in full rebuild right now. Full rebuild.
And here's the thing, too. Now, we've got the Jets, Grump.
The Jets pick is in. And it's Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think you've done a lot to add additional protection for Zach Wilson, but you have added another weapon. That's for certain. And now you could say to yourself, all righty, I think Garrett Wilson is a good wide receiver. He's going to give you immediate impact. And I don't think that's a bad pick there at all. I know Jets fans are probably wanting to have some sort of offensive lineman to add some protection, but they must feel very confident in Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, not me. He's fat and lazy, and he's always hurt. That equals loser to me.
Here's the thing with Garrett Wilson. Another guy, 6 foot, another one who ran a 4.38 40-yard dash. They were running in the special shoes this year, where at the combine, they were all running 4.3 40-yard dashes. He is an unbelievable player in open space. He's a guy, when he gets the ball in open space, he's going to rack up yak yards. No doubt about that.
He's able to elevate to make catches. Very good.
He also makes the first guy miss. He's very elusive in that manner too. So I mean, I had him as one of the better talent-wise, right? Best healthy wide receiver on the board.
Yeah, to me, he was a better pick than Drake London for Atlanta. But that's why you find Atlanta just not being good every year. They just don't pick well.
He's got great acceleration, allows him to get on the defensive back's toes very quickly. And again, he creates that separation and runs a great hitch route. Hopefully going to make for some easier throws for Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson was running for his life. He didn't have time to complete any passes last year. Again, I think this has been a bad draft for the Jets. You needed offensive line help.
What happens if they go in the second round, they pick offensive line help up?
An automatic starter in the second round. Okay.
You have zero faith in Mekhi Becton.
You're right. I've seen him play for 2 years. I have zero faith in Mekhi Becton. You are 100% right. I've seen him play for 2 years. He sucks. He's fat and he's out of shape, and he's lazy, and he can't stay on the field.
Can we talk a little bit more about
The
the
best
pick?
ability is availability. He doesn't have it.
Can we talk a
Sorry.
little bit more about Garrett Wilson instead of you just continuing to shit on Mekhi Becton?
You're the one who brought up Mekhi Becton again.
No, you said you thought it was a bad pick.
That's
And
right.
you said they need offensive line help. Okay, I think it's a good selection. Garrett, well, they need weapons, Grumpy, to put around Zach Wilson, which is what I said.
They
You
need to
said,
protect him. If he gets hurt again like he did last year, who gives a shit? If he's hurt again because they can't keep anyone out of the backfield, what's the sense? You need to protect your quarterback.
Here's the thing.
You can get by with marginal weapons if you can protect your quarterback.
Okay. He wins those contested balls, Garrett Wilson does. And you look at him, right? I think he also has the ability to fit into the slot well. So you add another one of those guys who's a versatile receiver. Again, a guy who, when he gets open, he's going to be able to slice and dice defenses up. I think at times, though, right, he over-exaggerates some of those routes, and he wastes some movement. But again, I think this is a guy who's a very polished route runner.
Okay, I just want to let you know that there's been a trade made. The New Orleans Saints have traded up with the Washington, formerly Redskins, formerly football team, now the Commanders.
From 16 to 10?
From
11?
16 to 11. We
Okay.
don't know the details of the trade yet.
Dun, 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 dun,
But we've gone to commercial, and New Orleans is on the clock with 4 minutes to go. But if you're trading up to number 11, you know that you're getting a guy that you want.
Did they go quarterback?
No way.
Why would you trade up from 16 to 11?
Maybe for a wide receiver. Maybe for
a wide receiver who's hurt.
Maybe
Williams is the next best wide out on the board, I think.
Well, why not? If you think he's the best talent, why not?
They're in win now mode.
Then why would you pick a quarterback if you're in win now mode?
Good question.
If you're picking a rookie quarterback, there's no way you're in win now mode.
Good question. I don't know, Grump. I think that quarterback is the biggest position of need that team has. I don't think Jameis Winston's the answer.
Maybe Kyle Hamilton goes here. They had some losses in the secondary in the offseason. Maybe this is where Kyle Hamilton goes.
Okay. I could see that.
Because, I mean, Dennis Allen is the new head coach there. He was their defensive coordinator last year, and they've always done good things to scheme, good schemes for their safety group. So maybe this is where he goes.
Alexander saying Debo doesn't want to play for the Jets. Frank liked the pick. And WTF, what is Garrett wearing, Garrett Wilson? They kept saying that the Jets saw Elijah Moore as a wide receiver number 2 than a wide receiver number 1. So this pick makes a lot of sense. Washington traded the pick to the Saints. That means Jamison Williams to the Saints. I don't know about that. I think he's the best wide receiver left on the board. Alexander says, good pick by the Jets, but he's got to go up against a top corner duo in the league. And I guess he was wearing some sort of pearls. The Wickerman says, come on, Grumpy. Last year, the Bengals drafted Chase over Penei Sewell, and they needed linemen. That was funny. I was going to bring that up. I think Jamar Chase is a much better receiver than Garrett Wilson is.
Thank you very much. Absolutely.
I will say this, too. I criticized the hell out of the Bengals for doing that last year, and that's why I was kind of keeping my mouth shut a bit.
How did that work out for them?
Worked out well.
Okay. He got sacked 9 times against Tennessee, and he got sacked how many times in the Super Bowl? 7?
7 times.
I mean, a record. You couldn't. And so what did they do with this offseason? They signed a whole bunch of offensive linemen because their offensive line was terrible. If they had an offensive line last year, they win the Super Bowl.
Okay, Jamar Chase.
I'm not saying
that he's one of those. I don't think Garrett Wilson's one of those talents, but if you had a Jamar Chase-esque type player on the board, phew.
And here's another thing. Zach Wilson isn't Joe Burrow either.
That's also true.
Quarterback, the be-all, end-all. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning.
There's a lot of weapons. Okay. Cincinnati had a lot of weapons on that team too, right? You had Tyler Boyd. You think about it. You had T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. You had tight end weapons, and you had Joe Mixon. The weapons were much better for Cincinnati than they are for the Jets. But here's, right, Wilson adds more of depth as weapons. I know Grumpy doesn't like that pick. I like Wilson there, especially after crosses off the board. I like that pick.
Their offensive line was so bad last year, though. Okay, I tell you what, they have the New Orleans draft room, and they got 7 guys. They're just sitting down looking at their phones. I mean, the pick is in. They don't look super excited, but they don't have a whole lot of people in the room either. I mean, but the crowd of the Saints fans is very excited. They got their little Saints umbrellas. They're ready to go.
Oh, gotcha. Well, here's the thing.
So who are you picking? Is it going to be Williams or Hamilton?
I don't know. Maybe it's Jermaine Johnson.
They also lost Armstead, their left tackle. So maybe they're thinking, maybe Penning.
Penning.
Maybe him. I don't know. But if you're on, who are you going to pick? Which one of those three guys?
If you were forcing me to pick one, I'd pick Hamilton, just because, again, Hamilton is a guy who he's one of the rare safeties, I say, that has the size, 6'4", in order to go ahead and cover tight ends, be effective while doing so. He can also cover wide receivers. He will struggle against shorter wideouts and slot wide receivers. As simple as that.
I'm going to say if Hamilton doesn't go here, he goes next pick to Minnesota. That much I will say.
I could see that. I could see him going to Minnesota too. I think he's a good prospect. There's no doubt about it. And I wonder what the Saints had to give up to move up 5 spots.
I don't know yet. We don't know. I'm sure it's going to include pick 16. And why would Washington say that? Because they know they can get their quarterback at 16.
You think Washington's hell-bent on a quarterback?
Who's their quarterback now? Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you. I know Ryan
Fitzpatrick. Carson Wentz.
Oh, well, Carson Wentz. Okay. Yeah, Carson Wentz. Not bad. He's not the answer. He's not the answer, that's for certain. The Saints have a good defense. It would make sense to take Kyle Hamilton, that safety from Notre Dame. James F. said the Washington gets the 16th third-round pick and a fourth-round pick. Wow, not much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Picks early in the draft.
That's it. And you're picking right outside the top 10. Think about that. But that's what happens. A lot of teams want to trade down.
Grumpy with coach's analysis. It was only 8 against the Titans, Grump.
Okay.
Only 8 sacks. 8 sacks against the
Titans. I thought it
was
definitely 9.
I mean, the only weapon the Saints have on offense is Michael Thomas and Kamara. They are desperate for weapons.
So it'll be either Williams, even if he doesn't play this year, or Hamilton. Those are my 2 guys. I don't think you see them going offensive line here, but who knows?
Yeah, Drew L says, apparently now Thursday Night Football will be broadcasted on Amazon Prime Video. Wow.
I don't like that.
Sweet Maria, you need to see Josh Bailey's goal, boys. What a beauty. And I'm not joking. Must have been one of those, the one highlight reel goal he has this season. Oh, man.
He usually does have one a year.
Oh, man. The Saints trading up, only having to give up a third and a fourth to move up 5 picks from 16 to 11.
I'm surprised they're giving up picks, though, with their salary cap situation.
The Saints are in one of those.
That's why these guys must be out here talking about Thursday Night Football. Just stupid. I guess maybe I don't know. They looking at the Chiefs and the Chargers. Maybe that's the first Thursday night game. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I don't know where they go here. There's a lot of Jesus.
Finally, the pick is in. It's only been in for 45 minutes.
Oh, they just had to talk about Grumpy. They had to talk about Amazon Prime. That's what it was, Grumpy.
Stop dragging out. I don't need a freaking commercial during the commercials.
Commercials during commercials.
And they signed Chris Olave. It was their pick.
Okay. They select a wide receiver. Well, there you go. They're looking wide out. I told you. I had a lot. Here's the thing.
Again,
Jameson Williams is falling just because of the injury.
But I'm going to tell you what, again, what are you seeing? You're seeing the price in free agency for wide receivers, how much they're costing on the open market. So now you're seeing, and they make impact in college, easy to translate or easier to translate to the pros, particularly guys who get separation. And, they're your cost control for the first 5 years, picking a guy like that in the first round. That's what they're looking at.
Yep. And they see that these guys want huge money. And are you willing to pay a wide receiver huge money? Again,
I do think that Wilson is better than him, though. Garrett Wilson's better than him.
I think Garrett Wilson is better than the 2 Ohio State wide receivers. But I mean, we think of Chris Olave, dude, he is an unbelievably smooth route runner.
He's more of a slot guy to me.
Yeah, he's got he's 6 foot tall. He's got the burst speed to where he can be open at every level, short, mid, and long game. Simple as that. You know, he's not a great threat in open space, right? And you wonder how much of his success also has to do with the fact that all the weapons Ohio
Okay,
State had.
we've had another trade. Detroit is picking 12th. So they've made a trade with Minnesota.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge trade too, because Detroit, I'm looking at, they had the 32nd overall pick. That they had the 2nd overall pick and the 32nd overall pick.
I cannot imagine them giving up next year's first round pick to get to number 12. I cannot.
Could you imagine them giving up the first this year and a second? So 32nd and whatever, 32nd and 34th for the 12th overall pick?
That doesn't seem like good value for Minnesota.
I don't either, but I'm not sure. I didn't think that
dropping 20 spots in the draft. I mean, unless Minnesota says, you know what, we only saw this many guys were, top 10 or top whatever. Everyone's saying that the strength of the draft is 2nd and 3rd round. Maybe they're going to load up on 2nd and 3rd rounders. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You just moved from 11 to 16 and only had to give up a 3rd and a 4th. I mean, again, it's not like, here's the thing. The Saints had, middle of the road 3rd round pick. You're getting a top. What, Grumpy?
You're moving up from 32 to 12. It's not going to be a 3rd and a 4th.
It could. Okay. Here's the thing. It could be. I'm not saying they're giving up a 3rd and a 4th.
They're looking at Kenny Pickett. He has a knowing smile on his face.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
He was unhappy before. He does not look unhappy now. Maybe this is where Kenny Pickett goes,
where his career will go to die.
Well, that's where.
Here's the thing, though, too, right? Detroit plays in the dome.
Detroit's
I'm
telling you, that's where he's going. You're just looking at the smile on his face. I don't see Malik Willis.
Okay, Grumpy. Can we talk about, right? Kenny
Well,
Pickett?
we don't know who's getting picked, so we wait till we get picked before you start talking about somebody. How about that?
Holy shit!
Now we're trying to see who might get picked. So why don't we talk about what you're seeing? Let's see the body language.
You've already told me that Kenny Pickett's going to be the one picked off the board.
He wasn't smiling, but he didn't look unhappy like before. And Malik Willis wasn't there, and the rest of his entourage just looked,
The Wicker Man says, Drew, yeah, that might be the way the NFL is getting rid of it. Talking about, he also said they're going to pick a wide receiver. Wicker Man says, I think they might be trying to get rid of Thursday Night Football because the players hate it.
They ain't getting rid of that. That ain't happening.
James F. is saying Willis is going to go to the Lions. I don't know. I assume the way you traded into this spot, it must be a quarterback that they like. And could I see, it's a dome, right? So you don't have to worry about it being tough to throw in cold weather, as per what Kenny Pickett gets shit on for.
Mel Kiper is very upset. He's very unhappy with the moves these teams are making. He's talking like this, shaking his head no. So he's not happy. And he's very animated right now. Go, Mel. I remember with Mel, Mel's still got the hair, but it's a little receding. But I tell you what, he used to have that big old pompadour going on up top, and he's pulling it off as much as he can now. He's got to be in his 50s, late 50s, 60s.
Yeah, he's been around on the scene for a long time.
Long time. I'll never forget the fight that he had with Bill Tobin, the GM of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, he said because it's a dumb pick.
Okay, here it is. The 12th overall pick in the 2022 second. For the Vikings get the 32, 34, and a 2022 third. So you're right. It was the end of the first round, the beginning of the second round, and a 2022 third. I'm sorry, 2020.
Doesn't matter.
2022 third, and then they get the Vikings second pick and first round pick this year. And here it is. Let's see.
Hold on. You just fucked that up. What do you mean?
No, I didn't.
The Vikings second round pick, so they're getting a first and a second.
Yes, that is correct. I didn't fuck it up. I read it exactly as it was.
So that's a good trade for Detroit, I'd say.
And Jameson Williams is the pick for Detroit, wide receiver, Alabama.
Well, let me ask you this.
Why?
So hold on. Stop. So you're telling me the Vikings gave up this selection, their first round pick, their second round pick this year for the Lions, first round, second round, and third round?
Yes, that's correct.
That's all it cost?
That's all it cost. That's what happens when you don't have that's what happens when you don't have any marquee talent. You're able to move up for that's what I said before the show. You're going to be able to move up in the draft without having to give up a whole lot. And you're seeing it trade after trade.
You jumped 20 spots in a first round pick in the first round, and it cost you moved essentially back
14 spots in the second round and got a third round pick.
That's pennies. And that's what happens when the value of these players aren't, the top end talent's not as much. That's pennies compared to years in the past.
The bigger thing is why, right? You see all the wide receivers going off the board.
Why would the Vikings do that? It must really mean they're not infatuated with anybody on the board right now.
That's what I'm saying. They're happy with their wide receiver situation. They have Adam Thielen. They have Justin Jefferson. They saw value where they could pick up another high level pick, 32, 34. That's where the strength of the draft is. So maybe that's what they're thinking. They wanted to get an extra second.
Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Getting back to the pick, Jameson Williams, I think, right? Not a bad pick at all. I think he's a guy who, when healthy, he's going to really add a lot of a threat to that Lions team. I still think, right, Jared Goff is not, a fantastic QB, but now you're not going to be as dependent on running DeAndre Swift into the ground every season and hitting with 1 million passes every year on dump-off passes.
Don't you have to think now, because now the Eagles are on the clock at 13. They would have snatched Jameson Williams. Absolutely. Everyone had them penciled in for Jameson Williams. Everyone did.
Jameson Williams has unbelievable speed too. You talk about that. It would have been Jameson Williams and Devontae Adams or Devontae Smith back together like the old Alabama days.
Very true.
So, I mean, like that's what I think they were hoping for. And wow. That would explain why Detroit had to jump up and get that pick. One thing I did notice about Jameson Williams, he's kind of small, the same way Devontae Smith is kind of a little small. That was the knock on him before the draft as well. Struggled sometimes fighting through contact and got jammed at the line of scrimmage on his routes. But he's a guy who, as soon as he gets a little bit of space, he gets that break off the line. My God, he can really dice a defense up. And the thing is, Bama, real quick, Bama, in order to prevent him from getting jammed at the line of scrimmage, ran trips a lot. So you can't run him on man. You can't try to jam him at the line of scrimmage. So there's ways that teams can avoid, right? There's ways that the Lions can avoid him having issues getting jammed at the line of scrimmage. Run trips.
That's all you have to do is just scheme it. Just scheme it.
And they can scheme it to where he doesn't have to worry about the weakest part of his game, which is getting jammed to the line of scrimmage.
Isn't that what good teams do?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, you look at teams like Tampa Bay. They never try to scheme anybody open. Everything is individual play. That's why they're dumb.
I love how they're always like, "Oh, a knock on him is he's not a great blocker." I don't know any wide receiver that's a great blocker, and I really don't care if wide receivers are great blockers. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Can you catch the ball? Can you make big plays after receiving the ball? That's the most important thing for a wide receiver.
He's unbelievably fast. He does a good job with those stops and starts too, Grump. Great route running ability. Great. I mean, in open space, he's dangerous. Unbelievably dangerous. So, I think that's a good pick by the Lions. No doubt about that, Grump. I think the Lions have had 2 good picks. I think it was a good trade for them, too.
3 straight wide receivers off the board.
A run on wide. Has it really been 3 wideouts?
Yep.
Yeah, I get. Okay, yeah, that's right. Wilson, Olave. Did Olave go right after Wilson?
Yep. And then Williams. Yep.
There it is. I wonder how far. Now, here's the thing. We talked
what else does this Davis. What you're seeing teams that are reaching a little bit for some of these wide receivers. So what does that mean? Guys who are rated higher are dropping down the board. So I think that should actually generate more trade talks for teams moving up for players that they didn't think were going to be there.
Yep. Think about right. We talked about Kyle Hamilton slipping. I wonder how far Jordan Davis slips. Remember, I told you Jordan Davis could be a guy who starts to slip. That's all I'm going to say. Keep that in the back of your mind.
He doesn't drop any lower than 17. Again, no lower than 17.
I thought he'd be an early teen pick. Then he's a guy who's going to slip a bit. I don't know how far, but maybe he slips a bit.
He never gets past San Diego for the Chargers. Never gets past them. Okay. But I have to look at Philadelphia, right? Their pick is in. We're in commercial, so it doesn't matter. They're looking at maybe a cornerback. If they're looking at cornerback, maybe Trent McDuffie is probably, I would think he's the next best cornerback. Then you have a little drop, and then you have Kair Elam and Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson. But I think Trent McDuffie's the pick. Or is this where Johnson goes for an edge rusher?
Jermaine Johnson, yeah.
I mean,
Kerry Elam is good. I mean, for Florida, the only thing I worry about with McDuffie, the corner from Washington, is he's small. Right? He's feisty. He's just small. And again, you can't teach size. It's one of the few things you can't teach. He's unbelievably quick, fluid hips. You look at it, right? He does a good job in zone coverage, really good job in zone coverage. Also can play man coverage. He's just small. I think he's a guy who wants to ideally be faced up in the slot against a slot wide receiver. And you know what? Slot wideouts sometimes dice teams up, so he could be valuable as a role player.
Yeah, you're not drafting a role player at number 13.
I agree. I'm just saying that those are the items where I think about McDuffie. That's what I think.
And 5'11" isn't terribly short.
Every corner seems to be at least 6 foot. It's the magic number. You got to be at least 6 foot. And you get some of them are 6'1", 6'2". Those extra inches help.
Yeah. It all depends on arm length, honestly.
Yep.
If your arms are a little bit longer, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It's how long your arms are.
Joseph C. said, it's not Willis. He knew it. He said it was a certain Alabama player. He got it. Lions have Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff blows. A horrible trade, he said, for the Vikings. Yeah, I think that's a bad trade for the Vikings.
Yeah.
No quarterbacks drafted yet. Maybe the whole round. Wow.
Okay, the Eagles get the 13th pick. The Texans get the 15th overall, a 2022 fourth and 2022 fifth round picks. So the Eagles moved up from 15 to 13 because they see somebody they want and they're not waiting. Is this another wide receiver?
Hold on, real quick. So the Eagles got the 13th. What did they give up again? The 15th and what else? What the
15th overall, a 2022 fourth and 2022 fifths.
So they gave up. Why do you keep saying 2022? Why don't you just say a first?
Because they could be picks from next year too.
2022 is this year. So yeah, okay. So they gave up.
Is this where Kenny Pickett goes?
Perhaps. I don't know though. Why would they be so terrified of that? Well, I mean, like if Houston was hell bent on doing it, they wouldn't have made the trade. He wouldn't go to the Baltimore Ravens, and unless they were going to trade the pick elsewhere. I would be shocked if this is where Pickett goes.
Maybe Houston was talking to other teams about for Kenny Pickett or for Malik Willis.
No matter what, I think these quarterbacks are going to slip and slide. I really do. You may have an Aaron Rodgers over here situation.
Except Aaron Rodgers is a really good quarterback. These guys aren't.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers slipped to 20 what?
25.
Okay, so
yeah.
There's 24 other teams.
Here's the thing. But Aaron Rodgers really slipped. These guys are not that talented. Their talent doesn't dictate them being in the top 10. Let
me ask you this. When 24 other teams said, no, the talent wasn't there, that's all you need to know about the barometer of what the opinion was in the room.
Okay.
You may get, I think
here we go. Philadelphia's reading this selection. Aaron Rodgers is more talented than either one of those two guys, period.
Okay.
He was in college as well.
You needed to cut me off just because I was making that statement, then to go ahead and
here's the pick. Pick is in. Pick is in. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're talking with all these.
God, oh, freaking mighty, Grumpy. You just don't want me talking about it. Grumpy.
When they go do.
Okay. Jesus Christ, stop it. Wickerman says Grumpy is about to be Trent Dilfer hilarious. Oh man, I tell you. And then Drew L says rest in peace to Ahmad Rat Brown for fantasy. Yeah, he was good last year for the Lions. For certainly was. I'll tell you.
St. Brown. Yeah.
And then Apex Senior Citizen says here, Grumpy Man, everybody knows good teams have to have their coaches turn players into third line grinders. Come on, Grump.
Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, Georgia.
Wow.
He did not slip.
He didn't slip. He went, okay, exactly where I thought you. Wow. Jordan Davis, they trade up for Jordan Davis. Okay.
Well, again, he's another one wearing one of these costumes. He's got it looks like he's wearing like a little band across his jacket, like he's Miss America with Georgia red. So
Jordan Davis gets selected. Here's the thing with Jordan Davis. I think we talked about him earlier, 6'6", 341 pounds, unbelievably fast when you look at the 40-yard time, 4.78. He shows moments.
His 6'6" and 3/8, 341. That's what they have him at. He's big.
That's what you said, 6'6", 341 pounds. I'm not counting the little half an inch on it. 6'6" is fine. He'll be happy with that number. Yeah, he's big. He's huge. He's hard to move. He's one of those guys that are really going to be able to control the line of scrimmage and prevent you from getting any real rushing yards. Being said, the league is more of a pass-happy league.
Everything's a bull rush with him. He's a bull rusher.
He's a bull rush. But this is the thing I like about him. He will have 4 or 5 plays every game to where he will not bull rush, right? You see a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of centers and guards, they try to jump set him. And that means, hey, instead of kick stepping, I'm going to go ahead and jump on top of him like we're doing a run block. I'm trying to engage him, and then I can try to neutralize the bull rush. But occasionally, he hits them with a finesse move. Every once in a while, he sprinkles them in. Bull rush, finesse move. And he gets the penetration when he does that because it's hard to expect when he's going to infiltrate that quick finesse move where he's able to sidestep the offensive lineman. And it usually works.
Very true. I mean, I think that's a good pick for the Eagles. I thought they had more immediate needs elsewhere, but he solidifies their front line on the defense.
I think he has the ability to be one of those unsung heroes. You talk about Vita Vea. I think this is a guy who I consider Vita Vea an unsung hero. I think Jordan Davis, right? He's a role player. He's got one of the abilities to be an unsung hero. I really do.
Yeah. Like I said, the big things that worry about him is he's not a great pass rusher. He just can stand at the line. Yeah, he does that.
Well, that's what I told you. He's not a great pass rusher.
And it's effort. It's the effort that he doesn't have. That's a concern for people.
Remember I told you earlier I just said these things and you called me crazy before the draft started.
No, I didn't. You said he was going to drop however long. I didn't say he was a pass rusher.
I made the case that I made. You didn't agree with the case why he could drop. I'm just saying, right? He's not a good pass rusher. That's correct. What, Grum?
Okay, so he dropped to 13.
No, okay. I had him going early teens. So he went right where I had him. I'm just saying, you look at the holes in his game, right? He's never going to be a great pass rusher. He'll occasionally have moments where he gets pressure. He's a run stopper. He clogs holes. He's a role player. He's a really fantastic role player. But 13 on a role player just kind of leaves me. I'm like, I know I had him projected there, but it just shows you how weak the draft class is.
If he's a consistent 2-gapper where he can occupy 2 blockers with a bull rush, that frees up other players, though.
The 40-yard dash moved him up the boards in an unbelievable fashion. If he didn't run a 4.78 40-yard dash, you'd be looking at the pick a lot later.
He still would have been top 20. Baltimore Ravens are on the clock. Their pick is in. I just want to say that what do you think? Is this where Jermaine Johnson goes? I mean, it's getting to the point where he's sliding a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ravens are looking for an edge rusher. They're looking for interior defensive line. Maybe that's why Philadelphia traded up to get Davis. They were afraid that Baltimore was going to snag him with the next pick. That's why they moved up to 2 spots. They could use another team. They could use another wide receiver, but I think Baltimore has to go defense here. So
I think they go as well. I think they go D end. I think why not go Johnson?
Yeah,
Johnson.
That would be my
selection. He's fell right. He's a guy who I had penciled in roughly towards, maybe a 9 or 10. He's fallen a few picks. I think this is a good selection for them. I mean, be interested to see actually.
Who are we seeing drop on the board?
The quarterbacks.
No, I mean a guy who was supposed to go in the top 5.
Well, he wasn't supposed to go in the top 5. Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton. Yep. And he's not going at this pick either. They just showed him. He's not going this pick either. Eventually, though, he's going to fall enough where somebody's going to say, you know what? His talent is too much. Let's make a move up to make that selection. Because he is really talented and he can do a lot of special things on the field. They compared him to Ed Reed.
He's good. I think he's really good. The one thing
you have to have the right scheme for him. You have to have something where you have something particularly in mind that you want him to do.
You can't have him ever matched up against a slot. Those guys eat him up. The smaller, quicker receivers eat him alive. You can't have that. He's got to be matched against a bigger guy. He's got to be matched against tight ends. I think he really excels in those areas.
Do you think Houston's got the 15 pick? You think that's where they grab him maybe? I mean, they went cornerback with their first spot. Maybe they go safety right after that, kind of revamp that whole defensive backfield in one draft?
Yeah.
Potentially?
I don't know. Houston needs everything.
Yeah, they do.
So, I don't know.
They call it Charm City football. I've been to Baltimore. I would not call it Charm City.
Neither would I. Working Man said, when was the last time a quarterback hasn't been drafted in the top 10? It might never happen again. It may never have happened. It did happen once. I can't remember when it did, but it was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Okay, the Ravens pick is in. It is Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe they saw a lot of Ed Reed in him too. I'm going to tell you one thing: the Ravens know how to get the best out of their defensive back group. They've always been really strong scheme-wise with their defensive backs. I think that's a good pick by the Ravens.
Kyle Hamilton, 6'4", 220 pounds, a 4.59 40-yard dash. Keep square when wide receivers, are going through their route tree. Again, he does a good job of that. He's big. He can play man and zone coverage. Again, I like him. I think this is one of those rare safeties that does a good job matching up against the very skilled tight ends. I think it does a good job matching up against those bigger wide receivers as he's got a size advantage. He'll struggle against smaller guys. You can't have him matched up with a smaller wide receiver that's quick and jittery.
Okay.
He's aggressive too.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing, he's not quick twitch.
Yes.
But, for a guy who plays the deep safety position, I mean, he can really diagnose, and he's got closing burst. He really does. The Texans pick is already in.
Wow. So I guess they kind of know where they're going.
They need everything. So I keep on saying Jermaine Johnson. He's dropping a little bit now, certainly more than I thought he was going to. I mean, maybe this is where he goes. I mean, the Texans, they need everything. Wide receiver, is there anybody worth going after now? Treylon Burks is probably the next best wide receiver on the board, isn't he?
Yeah, I figure it's a big drop off, right, from those top four. And again, I think Drake London was there's a big drop off, no doubt about that.
And then certainly they have a need at running back, but there's no way a running back's getting drafted here. Defensive end. Maybe that's Johnson again. Offensive tackle and a cornerback. I mean, do you go with Trent McDuffie here? I don't know.
I'm not going McDuffie. Sorry. I mean, McDuffie's a guy I could see falling just because he's so small. I really can. I could see him falling. Hey, you got a mismatch nightmare. It's tough. You're not going to be able to cover the wide receivers that wide. You're kind of limiting. He's another one of those roll type guys. I think he's a really good roll type corner, but it does a good job in zone coverage, right? Are you going to be a team that plays zone, right? Remember, Josh Norman was fantastic in zone, but he's mostly his own corner. I think McDuffie does a good job in man coverage, but his size hurts him. That's for certain. Jarrell says, I got to tell you, Grump, as a former assistant of Barry, I got to tell you, Anders Lee is way better than Patrick Kane. His grinding abilities are unheard of. I heard he's good like that, like a stripper. And what's with the hugging? Can two grown men just do a handshake? Do you agree, Stumpy?
Yeah, I was going to bring it up, but TJ gets so negative when I bring those things. If you ever notice, TJ, I need to be a robot. We are not allowed to have fun. No, I like to talk about the fun things. I think it's ridiculous that Goodell tries to, incorporate himself in here. Give him big bear hugs. Hey, come here, give me a big hug. Yeah, that started a few years ago. It makes me sick, honestly. You're a grown man, Goodell. What do you want to feel up some young guys? Is that your problem?
Oh God, hold on a second. So I just saw Gardner head the wrong way. My God, I don't know what I was envisioning. It wasn't this. I thought it was just like a few steps. Oh man, I look at this though, Grumpy.
What are we talking about?
Here with this stroll.
Yeah. That's the guy you want drafted. That's the guy you want as your number 4 pick. You don't even, and this is the guy who's got to mark people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know where the hell I'm going. Don't know what I'm doing.
Look at that jog, Grumpy. Look at that speed. Okay. He's got to keep his chains in the wraps.
Here is your first off the board selection by the Texans. What a shock. Offensive guard, Kenyon Green from Texas A&M.
Oh!
15.
Holy
and he's good. He's good, but he's not top 15. What does that mean? Zion Johnson is going to go pretty soon now.
I was about to say, I thought Zion Johnson was the better guard, but
he's more NFL ready. Zion Johnson is. But again, guys are dropping, right? You're seeing a lot of talent that when you're seeing guys who were projected to be, late 20s picks going in, like the top 15, that means there's talent is dropping. The Commanders pick is already in.
Dude, I tell you, this year's draft, at least as of right now, is just flying by. Kenyon Green, not a bad selection, but guards. I thought Johnson was the better guard. They look at it right. I always looked at the comparisons. They give him Richie Incognito, and I'm like, man, that's a lofty expectation. Richie Incognito, controversy aside, how many years was Richie Incognito a Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman for?
A lot. But here's the thing. This guy has got a nasty edge to him. That's what you want from a guard. You don't want anybody. You can get away with somebody who's, not a road grader as a tackle, but for interior, you want guys who have nastiness to them. Control the interior of your offensive line. That's what you need to do.
His pass blocking instincts aren't great, though.
I still think they reached on Stingley and they reached on Green.
I don't think he's, here's the thing. I look at Green, his lateral movement and how well he's able to react there to those D tackles and D, not great.
He's a guard.
He's a guard. He struggled at guard and pass blocking as well and pass pro as well. Do you need a guard that you're going to always have to run the slide side protection to his side?
Yeah. I'm just saying he's a guard. As long as he can stay in his phone booth, he'll be fine.
Again, he does a good job in polling, right? Got a low hat level there on items, but I tell you,
he's nasty too. He's nasty.
He is. He is nasty. He does a good job pretty much getting hands. He's a thick boy too, right? You look at some of the guys who are a little skinnier. He can collapse the line of scrimmage on a down block. He does those items well.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad pick for them because they need everything. I just thought that 15 was a little high for him. Probably, gosh, I want to say maybe even 10 picks too high.
Oh man, I tell you.
But again, it's tough to trade back.
There's not a lot of demand. That's for certain. So just kind of left in no man's land at the moment.
True.
Hey, he's good. He's a good run blocker. Again, at pass punch. Again, you talk about guys who have a punch, right? This guy does have a punch, as a guard, right? We talk a little bit about items where you can use improvement on. He does have a punch. His feet aren't great there in pass pro, but he does have a punch, a compact punch in run blocking and pass blocking. So you like to see that. And he's going to be a road grader, Grumpy. Road grader, but a freaking guard at 15. Oof, that's early.
Where does Washington go now? There are no wide receivers. I think you agree that Burks is the next wide receiver, right?
I think it would be a reach if you drafted Treylon Burks here at 16.
Yeah. Remember, he put a lot of weight on at the end of the season, and I don't even think he ran during his pro day.
No, I'll pull it up. I thought he did. Let me see.
I didn't think he did. The problem he had that he was overweight. I know he ran a really poor 40 time at the combine. But maybe is this where your quarterback goes? Is this where Trent McDuffie goes?
Treylon Burks ran a 4.55 40 at the combine. That's 6'5". That's not bad at all. Or 6'2". He's only 6'2".
Yeah, he's not real big.
Why do I think he's so much bigger?
That's not, and he's another guy who doesn't get a lot of separation. Right? He wasn't.
He was a good college wideout.
I'm not saying he wasn't good. I'm just saying he doesn't get a whole lot of separation. Is all I'm saying.
I don't know where Washington goes here.
I
told you a few weeks ago, or maybe I told you recently. I said that I thought that this is a time period where you're going to have both. I think the quarterbacks could really slip and slide, and I don't know if the Kenny Pickett slide is justified or not. I think it has a lot to do with his hand size.
I just don't think he doesn't have a whole lot of upside.
You keep saying that. I've watched Kenny Pickett for the last 5 years. I think he does have the upside.
Okay.
I've seen how much he took a monster jump from his junior to his senior season. Do I think he's done with the jumps and he's done improving? No, I don't think so.
Okay. I just don't think he doesn't have much upside. You're not drafting a guy like that high. It's just that plain and simple. It's a bad draft for quarterbacks.
I don't disagree. I don't
Okay,
disagree.
okay. Here's the trade. Trade. The Ravens trade Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals for pick number 23.
Wow. Wow.
That is really interesting. Maybe they wanted to have contract negotiations to extend his deal, and he just said no. That helps out
That's Marquise
Arizona.
Brown, right?
Marquise Hollywood Brown, yeah.
Okay. Marquise Brown traded there. Wow.
And the Washington pick is in?
That is huge for the Cardinals. I think that is huge for a guy like Kyler Murray too. Huge. DeAndre Hopkins, and now you've added Brown there. You've got Christian Kirk.
Okay. Here's another reach in my book. The Washington Commanders select wide receiver Jahan Dotson from Penn State.
Whoa, that was a reach.
Now,
and
he's a guy, I think people are looking at him maybe as a second rounder.
And they had him late in the first round, early in the second, Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, so that's kind of a reach. What does it tell you? These wide receivers are just flying. And he's not real big. He's 5'10 and a half, 178 pounds. So he's going to, I mean,
I wonder if the fact that Sean Clifford was the quarterback hurt his production.
I mean, he looks small. He looks like he's going to have to play slot to me.
He's a small wideout.
I mean, they play him on the outside, as the X guy for Penn State. But for me, he looks like a slot guy all the way. And the Chargers pick is in. My gosh.
Quick.
Well, here's the thing. The NFL.
Do you wonder if Jermaine Johnson comes off the board? I know they brought in Khalil Mack. But, okay, Dotson. Okay, he's another of those guys. A 4.43 40-yard dash. I mean, I think that was a little bit of a reach. I had him as a late first, maybe an early second, but man, you said 16th?
16, yeah. Okay, now maybe this is where Trent McDuffie comes off the board here. I mean, they still have
Jackson as well this offseason.
They still have it. They have JC Jackson, but they still have a need. And they would have taken Davis if he lasted this long.
What I worry about with a guy like Dotson is he's small. He can easily get pushed off the route, and they can interrupt his route tree. Those are things I worry about.
You're going to have to scheme to get help, and the Chargers pick is in, and they select Zion Jackson, the guard from Boston College.
Zion Johnson, you mean?
Yep. Sorry, my bad. Zion Johnson. And you knew that was going to happen, though, right? When you see Kenyon Green going that early.
There's one more guard we've got left on the board. We thought they were close in talent. We can't afford to, miss out on a guy like this.
I mean, you look at what they've done the last couple of years, right? They solidified the offensive line. They drafted Rashawn Slater from Northwestern.
Yep.
And now they draft Zion Johnson. I mean, you have Justin Herbert as your quarterback. What's the most important thing? You have to protect him, right? They could use a third wide receiver. They still have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, but they could use another wide receiver, but certainly that wasn't an option when you see everybody going now. So what did they do?
The Titans traded, hold on a second. The Titans just traded A.J. Brown to the Eagles for the 18th overall pick and a third-round pick. Holy shit.
What did it tell you? A.J. Brown was unhappy there. And, I mean, that's a great move for the Eagles.
Holy crap. The Eagles.
What does it tell you about the price of wide receivers? The asking price of wide receivers. That's the biggest takeaway from today. The asking price for free agent wide receivers. And they talk to these people. They see what wide receivers are getting. They're like, there's no way we're going to be able to trade them. Let's get a younger guy coming in, move those out. I don't think
get him as a first-round pick, so we have him for the fifth-year option.
That's right. Now to me, is this where Treylon Burks goes?
Wow. And here's the thing. We didn't talk too much about Dotson. Dotson's quick, right? He's a guy who's agile. He runs good routes.
He looks tiny. Not only is he small, he looks small. Small.
Well, that's the thing, right? He does look small. He is small, right? He's your typical. I think he's going to be a slot edge type receiver. And again, some slot receivers could really carve a defense up. He's unbelievably quick. He's agile, right? He runs a good 40. He's a little smaller though, easily bumped off the route. So no problem with that. But yeah, Johnson, Grumpy. Let me pull up what I got on Johnson. I mean, Zion Johnson is a guy 6'3". Again, not unbelievably fast when you look at the 40. He's agile though. You talk about a guy who's got good technique. He works well and moves well to the second level, keeps his shoulders square as he moves from first to second level. He gets inside hands. That is hugely important. And both of the guards selected so far really get inside hands. They've got that compact punch. He does a good job also of repositioning his hands on pass pro. When he's got guys fighting for those positions, he repositions. And again, I think he's got good power on his strike as well. I think that Zion Johnson was the better of the two guards, but that's a good selection there. I think he's going to be a guard that's really going to allow for protection and help with the run blocking as well.
Yeah, that's a good pick. You don't see guards going that high in the draft, and you see two of them going in the top 16, 17 picks.
We've seen a lot of offensive linemen, offensive tackles, and offensive guards early in this year's draft.
And the Titans pick is in.
Oh wow, my gosh!
I just love the speed with which this draft is going. I just love it.
Does it make it you think to yourself, oh, now I'm going to have a whole bunch of extra free time? Oh, I didn't even know. Unsung hero, story of my life, TJ says, what a films. Grumpy, Vontae, Mack, whatever it takes. And the Ravens secondary is the best in the NFL. If they take Hamilton, wrong, Grumpy. The Ravens took him. And then the Texans, never heard of this guy. What do you think of David Mills?
His name is Davis Mills, and he's okay. They have so many issues. You might as well roll the dice with Davis Mills. I don't know if he's the answer at quarterback or not, but
Rob G says Islanders. Yes. You got here Paulo C saying here, no team in the NBA has ever come back from a 3-0 series. The Raptors gave it a shot.
Absolutely, that's not true.
The Steelers are going to get Kenny Pickett. I could see them wanting Kenny Pickett. They know I could see right if he falls to him. I could see, okay, we know him. We've got a good relationship with Pat Narduzzi. He's comfortable. He's he's in Pittsburgh, etc. Wickerman said Steelers might, but I don't know if they'll go after either. I just think that there's a risk, that big for a first round pick.
I think they'll definitely go after him. I think for certain that'll be the pick.
Flumpy Scump makes his return once more. Says, I've been listening to Little Baby, or you mean The Baby, and I'm in the mood. I have no idea what that is. Jahan Dotson, yeah. What a film saying, how about them Cowboys, Grump? Ooh, the 90s. Shit, it's been a while since, it's been a while. Even alive TJ was when he saw the Cowboys. I
don't think you were born the last time they won a Super Bowl.
When did the Cowboys win the Super Bowl?
I think 1994 was the last year they won.
I was born. I was alive then.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yep. Look who they play. Yeah. I could see.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, they need a quarterback. Obviously, Mitchell Trubisky is the guy they signed this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's the answer, but yeah, here it is. A.J. Brown. Wow. The Eagles wanted a wide receiver. They got one.
Yep, and they got a talented wideout too.
They gave up their second first round pick and a third rounder. That's a great deal for the Eagles. They don't have a quarterback though either.
Yep, I think that's the biggest struggle. But here's the thing: A.J. Brown's better than any wide receiver that's drafted in this class on immediate impact.
But I mean, if you're an Eagles fan,
gotta be psyched.
You get Davis to cement the interior of the defensive line, and you get A.J. Brown, who's an established wide receiver, not a rookie, somebody who's ready to go. They're looking at the Titans draft room right now, and they don't look too happy.
Let me ask you this. Do the Titans maybe pick a quarterback? Or you think they're going wide receiver? You think they're still I think they're still competing. I don't know. Dude, Tannehill blows. He threw 5 picks in the playoffs. I know their regular season record was good, but Tannehill's always been a problem. I feel like
yeah, I mean, they obviously they need a wide receiver now. They obviously need a wide receiver desperately.
What a film saying you should get involved in coach some football, TJ. Sometimes I think football is everything you know. Here's the thing. I did it a little bit. I kind of was maybe I'll get one day I'll get back.
TJ has to make sure if he's going to coach football, he has to make sure that if he's not going to be the head guy, that he's respected by the head guy. I will tell you that much.
Yeah. Anyway,
don't blow smoke up TJ's ass.
The Jets dropped the ball. They could have gotten A.J. Brown.
Yeah. Think about it. They certainly could have. See, that's what I mean. to me, AJ Brown, that's a really good move. If you're an Eagles fan, you got to be happy today.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow,
AJ
wow,
Brown's
wow.
he's a man. I mean, he's had a couple of injury issues.
That's a huge step back, I think, for the Titans, right?
Yeah.
Wow. You said the first 30 in?
And Treylon Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas, just went to Tennessee.
He's a good wide receiver.
That's a step back for them.
I think so too.
That's a step back for them.
He's got good size, right? You look at it. He had games, and I think what moves him off the draft board a lot too is his performance against Alabama. I think that was when Arkansas was playing away. They were playing Bama away. Maybe they were playing him home. I don't remember. He had 8 catches and 179 yards and 2 touchdowns.
They say that his comparisons is Deebo Samuel and AJ Brown. To me, again, I didn't see him getting a whole lot of separation when he was lined up outside. If you can scheme him open, that's one thing. But
I also have seen that he needs to maintain his playing weight.
Yeah.
So apparently, again, making sure his size is under wraps is something he struggles with.
That's a problem for a wide receiver.
And again, like for being a big guy, sometimes he would drop those contested catches. And I mean, like you would expect a 6'2" receiver who kind of brands himself on a little bit of physicality to make more of those contested catches. I know he struggled at times with that. And again, it takes a little bit. He's a little slow in those intermediate breaks, right? Quick and long routes, he could do it, but those intermediate breaks, he kind of is a little slow out of them. And
I mean, you look at AJ Brown, man. I'll tell you what, he can really get separation on those crossing routes. He really plants that foot and drives on it. You don't see that with Burks. Now, here's the thing.
Burks has a second gear in order to get open, though.
What I'm going to say is, for Burks, that's something that you can work on, okay? So, again, like I said, a technique thing you can work on. But I don't see him getting a whole lot of separation. That's a big thing for me for a wide receiver. If you're not getting separation in college, you're not going to get it in the pros.
He runs smooth routes for his size though too. I think it's also worth mentioning that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just saying this is way higher. You're just seeing the run on wide receivers today.
Yep. Wickerman says here, still no Deebo trade. I don't know if Deebo is going to be traded.
He's not getting traded.
Yep.
Too late.
Also, breaking news: they just agreed to a contract extension. 4 years, $100 million, $57 million guaranteed. Who is that for? Is that AJ Brown? Let me see. Who's that for, Alexander? That's what I need to see.
I mean, you have 6 wide receivers taken at number
8. AJ Brown. Yep, AJ Brown just signed a 4-year, $100 million extension. Thank you there, Alexander. $57 million guaranteed. Wow.
What does it tell you, right? The Titans were not going to match that, so they moved him. Here you had 6 wide receivers selected so far tonight. 8, 10, 11, 12, 16, and 18. That's incredible. That's the first time that you've had 6 wide receivers drafted in the top 20 in the common draft era since 1967. Never happened.
I was about to say, I don't think that's ever happened before.
I've never seen it. But it tells you look at the price of wide receivers on the free agent market. Everyone, $20 million, $19 million. It's like, screw that. We're not paying that type of money. And look at how many guys got moved in the offseason, right? Tyreek Hill, they didn't want to pay him. Devontae Adams didn't want to pay him. I mean, so you're going to have to reload. Green Bay is kicking themselves right now. They're like, holy crap.
We're absolutely up shit creek.
We absolutely thought somebody was going to drop to us at number 28.
Do they reach the hell out of they reach and try to
or even I think they're picking at number 25 also.
They pick up Christian Watson from the North Dakota State.
You cannot reach on a wide receiver now. But again, you draft all these wide receivers are going, other players are dropping, right?
Who else is still on the board, Grump? Remind me. I know you're looking at it. Who are the top players I've got on the board at the moment?
For me, Jermaine Johnson.
Jermaine Johnson's on the board. That's what I was asking. Jermaine Johnson's been the guy who slipped. He's fallen.
I mean, then you got, Daxton Hill, who's a safety from Michigan. Trent McDuffie, cornerback. I mean, you got the 2 quarterbacks. Then you're going, right, Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle from Northern Iowa. I mean,
I didn't have him too highly rated.
You also have some linebackers who are pretty good. Devin Lloyd's a good linebacker. Nakobe Dean. another really good linebacker.
Kobe Dean, yeah.
But, I mean, the thing about Dean is he's a little small, right? He's 5'11", 229. But, I mean, he diagnoses like nobody's business, and he can really run to the ball. He's really good at that.
He'll be a guy that's probably a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick. I mean, a guy who slips.
Kobe Dean?
Yeah, it's Kobe Dean. Yeah, Kobe Dean. Mm-hmm.
No, he'll be gone in the 1st round. Absolutely.
Okay.
The Saints their pick is in.
Okay. Well, it's coming in quick. That's what I like to see.
This is pick number 19.
Wow.
We're 2 hours into the draft and we're at pick 19. Isn't this great?
How everything's happened so quickly.
I'm telling you, want to know my absolute favorite day of the draft is? It's not the 1st round. It's the 2nd day, 2nd and 3rd round.
Does it go so quick?
But you're getting really quality players in the 2nd and 3rd round.
The Workerman says, Titans cap casualties, AJ Brown, no quarterbacks drafted, and that's why.
Yeah.
So I've had so many of these wide receivers. Yeah, it makes sense. The reason why no trade for Debo is because he wanted to go somewhere, not near or not where, but Miami. He wanted to go somewhere, but he won't sign Miami. Anywhere but Miami. He won't sign anywhere but Miami. I don't know about that.
Okay, we have New Orleans Saints picking with a 9th pick, 10th pick.
What, Grump? Why are you?
Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle from Northern Iowa.
Okay, well,
he looks like an offensive lineman. That's a good pick by them, right? We were talking about potentially when they traded up earlier, that being their pick, and they wound up getting him at number 19. New Orleans has had a good day today.
I don't know. I think he's got so many holes in his game. And when I had offensive lineman that had a lot of work that needs to be done, he was right up there on the list. 6'7", ran a 4.8, 9, 40-yard dash. That's another reason he bolted up the boards. Here's the thing. Aggressive. He's a good zone blocker.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's more of a position blocker than a drive blocker. Sometimes misses an open space. He had a bad senior day performance. He did. I think he looked underwhelming at the senior day. Here's the thing, too. He's a D1 AA player playing for Northern Iowa. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have a bad senior day, that knocks me down the list. That knocks you down the list a little bit. I think he's a guard. When I watch his pass pro, I think that it's wildly inconsistent at times. He's a little bit more. He sits a little too wide and kicks a little too wide. The speed rusher is going to eat him up. I think he's more of a guard.
I like his athleticism for the tackle spot. I'm not saying he's a left.
He turns his hips really quickly in pass pro too.
Okay, like I said, I'm just looking at the film that I see of him, and he looks like he could definitely develop into something. New Orleans.
Okay, keep the film in mind. It's D1 AA.
Okay, I'm just talking about his movement. Pittsburgh is on the clock. But I mean, if you're New Orleans, aren't you happy with how things have turned out for you today? They're looking at Kenny Pickett and his family. His girlfriend looks like, oh my God, why did I start dating this guy? There were so many other quarterbacks that I could have dated who went earlier in the draft last year. Why am I looking at him? Ugh, I've saddled myself with this guy. His dad's like, holy shit, Kenny. Yeah, you suck. I knew it. TJ Olsen has been pumping you up, but you know what? It was a mistake.
TJ who, Grump?
TJ, just TJ of the TJ and Grumpy Old Man Show.
Thanks for that one. Thanks. Paulo C says here, Washington without Ovechkin is crap, and they won't make the playoffs next year.
We don't know about that.
Yeah. TJ got his sources. Yeah. And get in on Dolphins Twitter spaces because they called the Hill trade out. Yeah. And Pickett doesn't look happy. No phone call.
Now the Steelers pick is in, though. They're at commercial, but the Steelers pick is in.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that maybe Pittsburgh would be a good spot for him here. I mean, you have to figure they have, quite knowledge. They've got to be knowledgeable on, Kenny Pickett. They certainly, have the back. They've got him right. They've got the home field advantage on him. Practice and plays at the same facility as the Pittsburgh Steelers. You figured they'd have some sort of pulse on it. If they're not interested, hey, he's going to keep on slipping. He's going to keep slipping. No doubt about that.
Is there anything else you think they could go here?
My God, could you imagine picking Malik Willis?
No. I can't.
If they
Now
pick
he's the guy who's dropping.
you want to talk about someone that builds like one of those character stories, like that, like superhero stories, or like arc villains. That would be one of them.
Yeah, I mean, they desperately need a quarterback. One fell to them. I don't know. I just don't feel like, I know you like him. I just don't feel the warm and fuzzies about him. That's all.
All I got to tell you is this: his play will speak for him plenty on the field. Simple as that. Got a strong arm. He's the best quarterback on the draft. I think he's got a higher ceiling than you project. This draft class is not one that's full of many strong quarterbacks. I wonder who the Steelers pick at 20.
Yeah, I think it has to be Pickett, though. No,
I don't know. You've got the video, you've got the TV right there, Grumpy. Does it look like he's happy? Does it look like he received a call? How does it look, Grump?
I told you, it looked like his girlfriend was saying, "Why am I dating him? I could have dated."
I'm not caring about that. I'm saying, how does it look on his table? Is the pick in yet? What does it do? What are they saying, Grump?
The pick is in. It's in the commercial.
Oh my God! I know the fucking commercials.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know, but the pick is in. Before they went to commercial, it looks like he hadn't heard anything. You can tell. You look at everyone's faces. You can tell if there's been a phone call conversation. Mm-hmm. Maybe they say the pick is in, and then they call him. I don't know.
James F. saying, TJ, back with that shirt again. Yes, I am. Of course I am. Arnado got a 2-game suspension
for starting that brawl with the Mets yesterday.
It wasn't even that close. My God. Get over yourself, Arnado. Next time you should beam him. I don't know who they go here, though. I have to figure it's quarterback, but I don't think they're infatuated with any of the quarterbacks. I mean, the quarterback last till pick 20. Oof. My goodness. Tells you all you need to know about the quarterback draft class. Last year was a much stronger quarterback draft class. And I mean, you think about all these teams that just completely skipped over them, and you go, oof.
You had five guys going to top 15 last year.
Other thing I worry about is too, right? If I can tell you one thing, Baker Mayfield's not the answer in Carolina, and Carolina's just further prolonging the mediocrity that they live in.
True.
I don't know why they didn't draft a quarterback last year, but hey, that puts them in the position they're in currently. But man, oh man. I hope they go well off the board. I hope Pittsburgh does. I hope they go well out of the board in left field. I hope they don't draft a quarterback and make a really mind-numbing move. And they say, Mason Rudolph's our guy.
But isn't that really a good spot for Pickett?
I think it's a good spot for him.
Franco Harris is waddled up onto the stage.
God.
Man, he looks old.
He is old, Grump. How old is Franco Harris? 70s?
Damn old. No, I don't think he's in his 70s, but they're talking about the Immaculate Reception, which I hated. As a Raider fan back in the day, I hated that play. Hated it. Oh, my God. Please tell me you're not going to show it on the big screen, you piece of crap.
Why the hell am I getting on with the freaking gosh? Yeah, Franco
Harris. They have to stretch the show out.
They
got to stretch the show out. The teams are not buying in. They're picking way too fast.
72 years old, Grump.
72.
Told you. Grump, Yanks win again. The Yankees win. What a film saying, did you guys see the Bailey goal? First thing I thought of is Grump is going to be through the roof. How does Bailey score a goal like that and suck the rest of the time? I don't know. We haven't seen it. We've been live on the show since, but I'm sure it was a highlight reel goal.
Oh, man, he's old.
Is it typical the Islanders win again against the Washington Capitals? My God.
Kenny Pickett, quarterback from Pittsburgh, doesn't have to go. And now his girlfriend's all happy again.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll know.
Kenny is crying. His dad squeezes his neck. The dad's crying. Everyone's happy for Kenny Pickett. Come on, Kenny. Suck it up. All right, I'm going to tell you what. I don't like him as a quarterback. He's crying on national TV.
Yeah, you must hate Tom Brady because he's the ultimate freaking crier.
I don't see him crying. I just see him winning.
Yeah, my gosh.
He's got his head still down. His girlfriend's hugging the dad. Everyone's cheering. Everybody except for Kenny. Where's Kenny's mom? I saw her over there before. It looks like she got knocked out of the way by the girlfriend. And the girlfriend's going, yeah, Kenny, how much is that contract worth? Should have won a few picks early. Could have made some more money.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me ask you this. How long until he's starter? How So here's the thing. Kenny Pickett, I think the reason he dropped and slid so far down off the boards because he had small hands. He's a guy who's got a really, really high floor. The ceiling is questionable. I think it's higher than what Grumpy does.
He's
You look at a guy who is mobile. Kenny Pickett is mobile, good
he's
40-yard dash. He's
he's not
quick.
real big either.
6'2"?
Yeah, that's not real big for an NFL quarterback. I hate to tell you. He can move though.
He's smart with his decision making in the
Yeah,
pocket. He does a good job of reading the field. I know people criticize him for a little low Wonderlic score, but you look at the progressions he's had throughout his time frame. With the Pitt Panthers, he's a guy who, had a wide receiver core that dropped a lot of passes his sophomore and junior season.
They just showed that little okey doke move where he faked going down in the ACC championship game, and then pulls up against and runs the rest of the way. And now they had to put a rule in effect that you can't do that anymore. But that's a good landing spot for Kenny Pickett, right? I mean, let's be honest. It's a stable franchise. Pittsburgh, the Steelers are a stable franchise.
And you look at the improvement he had from 2020 to 2021. In 2020, what, Grump?
The New England Patriots have traded back.
Okay. Let's finish up real quick what it was, and we could talk about that trade back. In 2020, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions for Kenny Pickett. To 2021, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Again, obviously, he did have Blitnikoff winner Jordan Addison as a wide receiver, again, who did get open. Kenny Pickett threw for, broke Dan Marino's passing records at the University of Pittsburgh, too. So you talk about he had a hell of a season, had a great season. Maybe it was because he was more of a one-year wonder. But, I think he's a guy who projects to be, maybe an average to an above average quarterback in the NFL. I don't think you're reinventing the wheel with a pick like this. I mean, that's if all things pan out, you're looking at an average to an above average quarterback.
I just don't think – I think his floor is fairly high, but I just don't see his ceiling as being very much. But he's in an organization that really knows what they're doing.
And they know him as a person.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's not going to start the season. That'll be Trubisky. Does he get to play it all his first year? I think it depends on the record that they have, if they're competing for a playoff spot or not. If they are, I don't think he gets to play. But if they go into the tank, I think you might see him at the end of the year.
Yeah. Policy said here, guys, if there were to be an upset in the first round of the Eastern Conference Finals, which teams are I couldn't even tell you. I'll have to look at that later, Paula. We're on NFL draft mode now. We'll look at that later on our Saturday podcast with the Honors Never Say That podcast. Yep. Nico is saying here, I think the Panthers are hoping that Sam Darnold will pan out, but he didn't. James F saying here, Grumpy, the ball touched the ground of the immaculate deception.
I agree.
What a film saying NFL draft fan fights or NFL draft fights. You're gonna start with some fights over there, TJ. No, James F said Pickett's hands will hurt the Steelers in cold weather. Well, he plays in Pittsburgh now, so it's like he used to get the knock. That's why I never really quite understood the knocks for the small hands and how you won't be able to grip the football. He plays in Pittsburgh at the moment. It's a cold northeastern city. So he plays there already. Given he doesn't play in December, January, and February, but he plays over there through November, late November. So still chilly up there. Still kind of cold around that time period.
Yes. Now the Chiefs have traded up. The New England Patriots have traded back. It looks like
the Patriots are getting either the 29th or the 30th overall pick from Kansas City.
I think it's 30. I think the Patriots are getting 3 picks.
Wow.
Here it is. It's the 21st overall to the Chiefs. The Patriots get number 29 overall, as well as a 3rd and a 4th. Now, it seems like the Patriots got really good value there, considering how much other teams had to give up, how little other teams had to give up to move up.
Think about this really quickly before you continue on. Do you remember when the Saints traded from 16 to 11? That was 5 picks, and they got a 3rd and a 4th. The Patriots traded back from 21 to 29. That's 8 picks. Again, later in the first round, and they still got a 3rd and a 4th.
And the pick's in. And the Kansas City Chiefs, this has to be Trent McDuffie, doesn't it? Really? A cornerback?
Or why would they not select? I don't know.
Trent McDuffie is the selection. It had to be Trent McDuffie. It had to be. And that's where he goes. That's a good pick by Kansas City. They identified a need, which was cornerback without a doubt. And they paid a little bit of a premium, but you can do that when your team has been to the Super Bowl, how many, 2 of the last 3 years. So
they've had so much turnover this offseason, the Chiefs. But hey,
yeah.
Hey, here's the thing. Trent McDuffie, corner from Washington, 5'11", 4'4", speed, fluid hips. He's aggressive in nature when he breaks on those wide receivers. Here's the thing. Can play zone and man. I think he's really good in zone coverage. Can play man, can play the slot wide receiver, which is where I think he kind of excels in. He does a good job of occasionally bumping wide receivers off their routes. And again, he's got that hitter's mentality. Not all corners do. Some don't like to hit, some do. He's got the hitter's mentality. I think he's got great pursuit of the ball carrying closing speed, but again, the small frame, and he struggles against those back shoulder throws just because he's a smaller guy. Against big wide receivers, struggles against those jump balls. Again, struggle disengaging from blockers this year too.
I'll tell you what, his family is very, very excited.
I would be too. Drafted in the first round.
Yeah. One kid isn't cheering. Everybody else is cheering. Some kid just, I'm not cheering.
Here's the thing, right? You have to figure Elam is the next guy. Kier Elam is the next guy from Florida, corner off the board, next corner.
I mean, he was consensus number 3. It was like the top tier were the 2 guys who went 3 and 4. And this is late for him. He dropped. People are thinking him, maybe early teens, and he dropped. And now your next group is Elam and Booth. Those are the next group. And the Patriots also need cornerback help. So maybe they figure, okay, if they get 29, they're going to get one of either those 2 guys. Maybe they'll like them just as good as, or maybe just a little bit less than McDuffie, but you're able to get a 3rd and a 4th as well. So
and James F. saying ESPN, they're explaining that Kenny Pickett's hand expands when holding the football, not when it's flat on the table. What? Yes. So what happens is he's double jointed. His thumb, that was the story. His thumb is double jointed. Like my thumb is not double jointed. It is what it is. His thumb can like expand further that away when he throws the football and is holding the football. So it gives him a larger grip on the football. I don't know. It could sound like a whole bunch of shit because here's the thing. To me, that sounds like a bunch of shit, but maybe it's not. I'd have to look really close at it, and I watched him. I don't think the hand size is unbelievably, like end all be all, but it definitely hurt his draft stock. What a film saying here. That lady who stormed the basketball court had a referee's jersey on under the jacket and was protesting something. Oh, that's all I could find. I told you last time. I thought it looked like a ref jersey. Thank you, Woody. Thank you, Woody.
You did.
Okay, Kenny Pickett. Now, Malik Willis, a guy who was originally suggested that he would be the first quarterback off the board. They had him as going as early as 6 to the Carolina Panthers. Looks to be sliding down the boards. I mean, I could see him slipping until late first, if not a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, maybe he slides to Detroit in the 2nd round. Oh, no, sorry, they don't have a 2nd-round pick. My bad.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Okay,
that away.
This has to be Jermaine Johnson. Has to be for the Packers.
He keeps sliding and sliding and sliding.
It has to be him. It's, they need a wide receiver. They're not going to go for Christian Watson here. It has to be Jermaine Johnson. Has to be.
Oh, man. The Giants, right? Or I'm sorry, the Green Bay Packers. They lose, big pieces this offseason. Devontae Adams. They lose other pieces out there with wide receiver.
Valdez-Scantling left too. He went to Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost pieces. That's for certain. I think they definitely do need a wide receiver. You're right. They were kicking themselves unbelievably. And, you can't count how many times they kicked themselves because every single wide receiver, 6 drafted in the top 20. First time that ever happened in the NFL draft. I'm sure they weren't betting on that being a possibility tonight.
Okay, the pick is in for the Packers, and it's linebacker from Georgia, Quay Walker. That's a good selection for them. It is.
Walker. Yeah.
I don't think it was a position of big need, but I mean, he's a big enough guy. He's kind of like a throwback linebacker, 6'3 3/4, 241 pounds. And he weighs bigger than he looks. So it looks like he could put some weight on, honestly. But he's another one of those Georgia players who can really attack the line of scrimmage and really good at diagnosing. I mean, their defense was outstanding last year. It really was.
Yeah.
The only game they didn't play well was in the SEC championship game. That was the only game all year.
I mean, he's got quick recognition too in response. And you look at his 40 time, you talk about how, big 6'4", 240, right? He still runs himself a 4.5 40, a 4.5 240 yard dash, unbelievably quick. You talk about a guy who does have athleticism, quick play recognition. That's important, especially when you're talking about a linebacker. So, he's a guy who's got an unbelievable motor, he's got that consistent hustle, whether he's, near the ball or away from the ball. All those, for the most part, all those Georgia defenders are like that.
True. Buffalo is on the clock now. And, they how did they get the 23rd pick? The 23rd was traded to the Ravens, wasn't it?
It was that was that. Oh, hold on. Yeah, 23rd was originally going into today owned by the Cardinals, which must have been traded to the Ravens.
And now the Ravens, I guess, have traded to Buffalo. Right?
Buffalo had the 25th pick. They have the 25th pick, so they just traded up 2 spots. They traded up to jump over the Cowboys, and they traded up to exchange. So they went from 25 to 23.
Okay.
But when you're talking about Quay Walker too, right? I think he can kind of get glued a little bit often to the blocks. When he gets there, and they get their hands on him, he can kind of get a little glued to him. Doesn't do a great job of eluding the block either at times. Some linebackers are slippery. They do a great job of avoiding. They can kind of fake it out as they're looking to the backfield, kind of evaluating everything. He's not one of those guys. He struggles a little bit of avoiding and eluding those blocks.
Yes. I mean, I think it's a good selection for them, though. I think it's a good selection for them. Now, I mean, but who are they looking for? They were thinking wide receiver all the way. There's no way they thought 6 wide receivers would go in the first 18 picks. No way. They thought when they were at the spot they were in, they were going to get a wide receiver, and even Dotson went, which I think was really surprising. I think in the second round, I can't see them. I think in the second round you'll see them going for wide receiver though.
They've got another first round pick. They've got a
pick, but I can't see them picking a wide receiver. I just don't think the value is there at the end of the first round. Not now.
Well, here's the thing: you're going to have people reach way off the board. I feel like at that moment, right? God Almighty, they're between a rock and a hard place. It's as simple as that. Maybe George Pickens. Could you see him
in the first round? No.
If they're looking wide receiver, right? And they say, "Oh, it's not Christian Watson." You couldn't see Pickens.
Not in the first round. I just can't see it. There's a lot of guys you could get in the second round. The first wave is over. I don't think you force it to go to wave 2. I just don't think that's smart.
Jarrell's saying, yeah, Willis isn't going to the second round now. I think that's a possibility. Pickett's the most NFL ready quarterback, though, out of everyone. I like the pick. The Bills could be in on a running back.
No way.
That's early for running back. I don't think there's any running back that screams, hey, I need to be selected. Kenneth Walker's a good back, but that's a guy, it's a day 2 pick. I don't see any of the running backs going in the first round this year. You've seen in the years past, think about DeAndre Swift, second round guy. A lot of those running backs, you can get a good running back in the second round.
Very true. Even third round.
Yeah, I mean, running backs are a dime a dozen. It's not like, oh, I've got to go ahead and find, a running back in the first round like years past have been. They're not as, relied upon as they have been in the past. The run game has kind of started to fade a bit in the NFL. Nothing wrong with it. It's just a changing of the position, changing of the importance.
I mean, you're looking at Buffalo, right? So what are their needs now? I mean, not a whole lot, but, interior defensive line. Okay. Maybe Devontae Wyatt, maybe Travis Jones.
I could see them going corner. I could see him going corner or interior offensive line.
It's corner. You're probably looking at Kair Elam, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they obviously retargeted somebody. So maybe they were scared of who was picking next. Who was picking it? Dallas. Maybe Dallas was looking at a corner or an interior defensive lineman.
I had interior offensive lineman is what the need was, I thought.
For Dallas?
Oh, for Buffalo.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I just don't think there's an interior offensive lineman that we should worry about that they would pick here, honestly.
Here's the thing that what I think.
Unless maybe they go for maybe the kid from Iowa, Tyler Lindbaum. maybe that's a kid they look at here, because maybe, if you're looking for Dallas interior offensive lineman, he's a center, more of a center than a guard, honestly, but maybe that's who they're looking for. And maybe that's who Buffalo is going to jump and pick him instead. I think Buffalo's got a lot of options here.
Okay. Thank you. Or you just pick best player available, because here's the thing. Buffalo doesn't have a lot of gaping holes on their team. They don't. Let me ask you this. Is Jermaine Johnson still on the board?
Yes, he is. Here's the trade. 23rd overall to the Bills. The Ravens get the 25th overall pick and a 4th rounder this year.
Okay. So not much to give up. Jermaine Johnson's also still on the board. Do they coach Jermaine Johnson?
I don't think so. I think interior defensive line. If they're going to go D-line, it's going to go interior.
Remember, they went ahead and they signed Von Miller this offseason.
Well, then why would you go for outside rusher?
Do they just go best player available, Grump? That's what he just asked. Best player
I think they're going to go either interior. It's going to be maybe Devontae Wyatt, who gives you a little bit of pass rush on the interior, or Travis Jones, who's more of a run stuffer on the interior, or they go cornerback with Kaiir Elam. And here's the pick. It's going to be Kaiir Elam, the cornerback from Florida.
Okay, they got themselves a corner.
Yeah,
well, we talked about big guys who dropped in a big way. I mean, in Johnson has dropped. Jermaine Johnson has dropped in a big way. Dallas is sitting here at 24. Do they say, yeah, let's go ahead and select ourselves, a defensive end? Let's pick ourselves the best player on the board. I know they needed an interior offensive lineman as well, but you look at that and you say, oh well. We maybe had thought that, Kenyon Green and possibly, Zion Johnson would possibly be on the board at this time period, but they were selected early. So they also need wide receivers. Think about the Cowboys, what they've lost at the wide receiver position this offseason.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you see them reaching on a wide out?
No. See, I can't see anyone reaching on a wide. I don't think you're going to see another wide out in the first round. I really don't. They're just none worthy of first round grade, not in my book. I mean, but so who are you looking at then, right? For me, I'm going to say Tyrell Limbaum. That's going to be the guy you're looking at. I don't think they're going to go, but if they do go edge, Jermaine Johnson. I think one of those two guys is going to be the pick for Dallas.
Kaiir Elam, though, talking about him, ran that 4.39 40-yard dash, 6'1". Again, now the thing about him, you talk about a composed corner. He didn't bite all that often on those double moves. Again, another corner, anytime you're drafting a corner in the first round, they usually have unbelievably fluid hips. He does a good job of impeding and affecting guys on their route tree as well. Struggles sometimes, though, when covering wide receivers through those route combos. But again, he does a good job of impeding them, but could sometimes struggle a little bit as they're going through if he's unable to impede them. And sometimes he does unnecessarily grab wide receivers, I noticed when watching film. And again, you get handsy like that, you're going to get called in the NFL. Maybe not in college, but they will flag you in the NFL.
Yes, true. 100% agreement.
But yeah, Dallas is in a situation here to where Jermaine Johnson just keeps sliding, right? You think to yourself, remember when Montez Sweat just kept sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding in that year's draft class? Yep. I mean, was he from also Florida State?
No, he was from Texas A&M.
Okay. I couldn't remember where. I feel like a Florida State defensive end has also slid in years draft and past draft classes, but maybe not.
I cannot recollect.
No worries.
I'm going to tell you what, though. I'm surprised Dallas is letting it run down. I mean, has anyone let the time run down like within 4.5 minutes? It's like the picks are out and they're right in.
Let me ask you, you've got the TV up. Who are they showing as some of the best players available?
Jermaine Johnson, Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan, Malik Willis, quarterback of Liberty, Arnold Ebiketie, defensive end for Penn State, and Tyler Limbaum, center from Iowa. I think that's probably the direction that Dallas goes right here.
I don't know, Grump. They're in a spot to where they need wide receivers. They need wide receiver. Yeah, but all the wideouts are gone. It's just like it's the same shitty situation that Green Bay's in. We were just talking about, wow, Green Bay's kicking themselves. I'm sure the Cowboys are too. They were probably hoping that one of those big name wideouts would still maybe be falling to them on the board. Maybe like a Treylon Burks would fall to them where they were picking, but I guess not.
Yeah, no. Yeah, for me, I mean, it has to be. They just showed something that there was a 1% chance that Jermaine Johnson would be available by pick 24. So he's the guy who dropped this year. Big time.
Yes, there's always one guy that does, and this is straight up to snatch a guy like this up.
You could say Pickett, and Willis, but really the only reason that they were projected to go so high is that they were quarterbacks. For me, Malik Willis, whoever drafts him, he's going to be a work in progress.
He, I think, falls into the category, right? I think there was a lot of hype behind him, but what Matt Corral looked good. You know, Malik, I put them all in the second. The tiers of quarterbacks, right? You put A tier, B tier. I think Kenny Pickett was a C tier.
I'm sorry, they just showed Nakobe Dean.
It's Kobe Dean.
Whatever. They just showed him. I wish you could see his outfit. Some of these guys really want to get dressed up. The pick is in for Dallas. Sorry. It was hilarious. You had to see it. He was wearing some little hat and it was kind of tilted sideways. I don't know.
I see it. No, he's got, hold on. I like that outfit. There's nothing wrong with that.
Little pink outfit with the hat tilted.
It's nice. He's got I think that's a kind of cool looking outfit, Grumpy.
Maybe laughing. Look at the Cowboy fans, man. They are some loyal fans.
Put the race together.
Hold on a second. I got to put that on mute here. I'm trying to get, look at that. Okay. I'll pop. Oh my God, Jordan Davis. You forget how big that bastard is until you look at him. He's a big son of a gun.
He's big. He's big.
Oh my God. He looks even bigger next to Kobe Dean.
The pick is in. Where the hell is Roger Goodell? Will you go out for a coffee break?
Here you go, Grumpy. Is this I don't like
that's like the hat? I'm sorry.
He's got dreadlocks, I think. That's why he can't wear the hat on top of his head like that.
Well, then don't wear the hat. It looks who's the singer who used to wear hats like that way too big for his head? He's a good looking kid, though. I'm gonna tell you that much.
He is.
He's a good looking kid.
You're talking about Jordan Davis, right, Grumpy, the big nasty?
No, I'm talking about Nakobe there.
It's Kobe, damn it.
Whatever. I mean, who is the
he looks dressed well. He's dressed well. I think he's dressed well.
Who was the singer who used to have one of those big hats that was too big for his head? Pharrell Williams?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't follow singers like that.
Okay. I'm just saying that's a big hat. The hat is just not a good
I will say, now that we're looking at the fashion, I don't get the red stripe. Maybe it's for Georgia. Like, hey, because Georgia's black, white, and red.
The Dallas pick is in. Cowboys. Who are they going to select? Wow. Okay. Here's the reach of the first round. Tyler Smith, offensive tackle from Tulsa.
I didn't have him as a reach. That's not a reach.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a first-round pick, is he?
Here's the thing. He's raw. Think about it. They lost offensive lineman this offseason, right? 6'5", 502, or 502, 40-yard dash. Here's the thing about Tyler Smith. Oh, actually, I did write. He's a long-term project. That's the first thing I had on Tyler Smith. Very long-term project. He's a guy in pass pro. He's unbelievably raw. He places his hands, right? He doesn't have a punch. He's a guy who I catch and I place my hands. He's going to get called for holding like that. He usually has a lot of outside hands. He's mean. His feet get close together in pass pro. Again, it's not very fluid when he has, his kick slide. He turns his hips a little too quickly. He is flexible, though. He's athletic, but he's unbelievably raw.
You're right. He's like this with
That's what I say. He's a project. Literally the first thing I had on Tyler Smith, long-term project.
But again, yeah, he does. He raps all the time. But again, that's a technique thing. I mean, you can work on guys on technique, but do they have the foot skills, the ability to mirror?
Here's the tackle. Their college coaches was trying to help. Their college coaches tried to help them with technique too. So that's why I was like, as much as we say it's just technique, it's not that tough. Those college coaches every single damn day for the last 3 or 4 years were trying to help their technique and only got it to where they look like that. So, NFL coaches obviously are better, but yeah, that's a long-term project.
Do you see what I'm doing, TJ? I'm reaching.
Oh, there it is. What a film saying, I know I'm out of the loop with draft picks, but I'm listening. Are NFL teams looking for quarterbacks who can run the ball? Or is that too big of or is that just too big of a risk, injury risk?
They like guys who are mobile. They don't necessarily have to run the ball, but they do have to be able to move
Get out of the
inside.
pocket.
Yes.
You can't have a guy who just sits in a pocket and just throws the ball. What a film saying, if you guys are picking a team, what would you focus on first, offense or defense? Offense. The way the league is now, I'd rather build a better offense than defense.
Offensive line. If you can't get a quarterback, offensive line, then you get the quarterback.
I guess Dallas has like a 16-year-old boy being one of the executives on this organization. And George Davis is probably going to be defensive end with Mekhi Becton out there. Oh, God. What a film saying, do these guys get a paycheck when they sign, or does the season have to start first? I can't believe how much these guys make. Oh, yeah, they all make millions, every single one of these guys. But
you got to remember, they sign and they get a signing bonus.
Yep.
So they're automatically getting that signing bonus money, whatever it is. That's guaranteed towards salary cap. And then they start getting game day checks. That's how it gets paid.
Here's the thing I think of, right? This is it's a reach, but my God, the Cowboys took a step back this year, wouldn't you say? After what they lost in via trades and wide receiver help, and they lost offensive linemen too.
Yeah, I mean, and they got their coach isn't great. I mean, you see why Brady came back, don't you? I mean, you got the Rams, who I think also took a step back, and they're definitely going to have the Super Bowl hangover without a doubt. And then you have the Packers, who've definitely taken a step back. Arizona, maybe, I just don't have faith in them. And then the Cowboys. That's it. I mean, the NFC's there for the taking, honestly. The AFC is the better conference right now.
When we look at some of these moves the Cowboys made too, right? You lost Amari Cooper. I mean, that's a big loss. I know he wasn't fantastic last year, but I mean, you also lose Connor Williams. That's a big loss also. You know what I mean?
No, Connor Williams.
Interior offensive lineman.
Okay. They lost another wide receiver too. Did they lose Cedric Wilson? I think Gallup they signed to an extension.
Yeah, they lost Cedric Wilson.
Okay, so that's a loss for them, particularly, because CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup can't seem to stay on the field. Gallup got a contract extension, but Wilson was pretty good as that number 3 guy.
All I'm saying here, Connor Williams is with the Miami Dolphins. Connor Wilson's young too. He's only 24 years old.
Okay.
He was a guard for them.
The Dolphins did some nice things in the offseason.
Yeah, they made a lot of additions.
Yeah.
They certainly did. They'll be heading in the right direction. Again, that's the biggest issue.
Guys ready to play. Yep, but here's the thing. The one thing the McDaniel kid can do, he can win with a subpar quarterback with that offense. They're going to have to be able to run. They got some speed running the ball, that's for certain. But for me, getting the ball to Tyreek Hill, getting the ball to Jalen Waddle in space is going to be key for them.
Are you guys on tomorrow and Saturday for the draft? No, we're not.
Tomorrow we have the Islanders Tampa Bay game last of the year.
Do you want to do that when Grumpy? The season's over. Do you want to do that last game of the year?
I don't.
Are we playing a drinking game when we play it? Maybe then we could do it. Gotta keep us interested.
Drink, but
Drew Ells, you could drink some water, Grump. They may be going to the bathroom. I'm happy with Joe Schoen. The team seems, he seems like a good general manager after these first 2 picks. I was about to say, I'm happy with what the Giants did. For certain, I am. He also said, I also like the fact that he told us his plan as well. Most general managers don't do that. Usually, they don't. It's because they're either narcissistic or they have no clue what they're doing, or they want to keep it close to the chest.
Yeah, they don't want to tip. They don't want to tip their hand.
Yeah, offensive linemen may be the most important players on the field. Romo's career pretty much ended because of a missed block.
Got to be able to block for your quarterback.
Absolutely. Grump, who's picking right now?
Baltimore Ravens, and the pick is in. I mean, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually, it's TB. The Tom Brady's are picking in 3 picks. And right now, I got a guy penciled in for them.
Hold on. Who's selecting right now? What pick are we?
Baltimore Ravens, number 25.
Okay, that's right. Because I forgot Baltimore traded with Buffalo. So they're 25. Then it goes to the Titans at 26. Okay. And then Tampa at 27.
Yes.
Okay. My gosh. Yeah. I tell you, I'll be interested to see. Now, who do you think Baltimore goes with, Grump?
All right. Didn't they pick already? Jeez, I can't keep track of who's picked what.
And you're watching the game, and you're watching the actual.
Yeah, but I don't. It doesn't show me all. Okay, I mean, if I watch long enough, I can see who else they picked. But for me,
they picked Kyle Hamilton, didn't they?
That's right. That's right. Hamilton. Come on, why is this happening to me?
Who would you think they would pick, Grump? Or you just
I'm going to tell you in half a second. If you just give me half a second, maybe this is where Jermaine Johnson comes off the board. I've been saying it every pick. They need edge. They need edge help. And the pick is in.
I saw people saying maybe at that later, maybe they would look at, as a reach pick, George Karlaftis, the defensive end. But I mean, like with Jermaine Johnson on the board, I think he's fallen in their laps. That's a no-brainer pick.
The pick is in. It is Tyler Lindbaum, center from Iowa.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Best center in the nation.
Yeah, he is. He is the best center in the nation. One thing about centers, though, usually, you can always kick guards and tackles into play center,
Yeah, you can get by. I mean, his girlfriend is hot, too. He's a center. Kids grow up to be football players.
Oh, man. So Tyler Lindbaum, 6'3", Grumpy. So again,
6'2" and 1/8", 296.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha. I was looking at what it said. Okay, never mind. I was looking at what it said on the just Google for him, not the combine. It's always funny. They always add about an inch on the guy. Okay, 6'2", though, Grump. Yeah, I mean, like he is the best center in the nation. Played for Iowa. Again, another one of those road grader type guys, Grump.
Iowa is really a good program for offensive linemen. They put out good offensive linemen. Always have under Kirk Ferentz.
Yeah, I tell you, you look at him.
Hold on. The Jets have traded back into the first round. This is going to be Jermaine Johnson. Guaranteed. Jermaine Johnson goes next pick. Guaranteed.
Guarantee you, Grumpy?
Guarantee. Hells yeah. Man, look at that. I mean, I can't believe this girl is with Tyler Lindbaum.
Here's the thing, too, right? Like some offensive linemen, he does everything moves in unison, right? Everything is so harmonious, right? When you look at, hey, when he's moving, when he's working the next level, everything moves in motion. He's got a really good movement about him, too. I mean, like this guy, he's a center
and a wrestler. He's a wrestler also.
Okay, gotcha.
He wrestled Tristan Wirfs.
Really?
Back in the day in 2017, the Iowa State Championships. And who won? Oh, Lindbaum took down Tristan Wirfs. They cut it off. I don't know if he actually won the match or not.
Maybe just a takedown.
That's what you want, right, from a center. A guy like that with that
overset. He can occasionally overset. Like when I'm looking at it, he's the best center on the board. He occasionally can overset a guy, right? If it's like, hey, at your slide protection, or hey, you're on the man side. Well, he's always on the side. But let's say he's on the slide side, he can occasionally overset a D tackle or that one technique, and they'll go across his face, and he's kind of working for best case scenario just to slow him up a bit to give the quarterback some time. He occasionally does that.
For those who are interested, Lindbaum pinned Tristan Wirfs.
Pin. That means he's guaranteed for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's going places.
He gets inside hands, and he's got good pass protection, right? But I think sometimes, right, he can overset guys. But I mean,
he looks a little small. But these
Iowa, he's under 300 pounds.
Iowa turns out offensive linemen.
He's athletic. He's athletic, and he moves well. Those are important. He's a center. Centers are, I'd say, generally speaking, they're kind of like safeties and running backs these days. You don't really use high picks on centers, but I mean, you occasionally see centers every once in a while go into first round. This is a guy who's deserving of a first round pick, I think.
True. What'd you think of Devontae Wyatt? He's defensive tackle from Georgia.
I think there are better guys still left on the board at the moment. Why? Are you thinking about New England trying to pick up a guy like that, or who are you thinking?
No, I'm thinking Tampa Bay. They need interior defensive line help. They're going to go either Wyatt. Well, let's worry about the Jets first. Jets are up.
I was going to say the Jets just.
The pick is in. It's got to be Jermaine Johnson. They were thinking about him at number 10.
Why
Has
not?
to be him.
If they don't, I'll be shocked.
I'd be shocked too. You trade up for a guy like that.
I mean, he's fallen. Think about it. We're at what, pick 26? Okay, yeah. I'm interested.
Oh my gosh. Kuiper's talking about Breece Hall from Iowa. There's no way you draft a running back here. Wouldn't that be a Jets type thing to do?
Holy shit. You trade up into the first round when the running backs are not predicted. Christ almighty. Running backs are a dime a freaking dozen. If the Jets do something, Mel Kiper, I hope you've lost your goddamn crazy. I hope you've lost your mind.
He just mentioned him. He just
I hope mentioning that is him losing his mind. Early onset dementia. My God, Mel Kiper. A freaking running back like that when they're a dime a dozen. Yikes.
Don't draft a running back in the first. Here's the thing. You certainly don't trade up to draft a running back in the first round. No. I mean, Jonathan Taylor went in the second round. DeAndre Smith went in the second round.
Yeah. He's going to be a stud. Are you excited, Grump?
I'm excited. I don't know. I'll be excited after the
I'll tell you one thing. Cincinnati probably isn't happy. I bet you they were hoping for an interior offensive lineman to fall to them, and they've just had pick after pick after pick, a few picks in a row where, hey, more offensive linemen are off the board. That was a big need for Cincinnati, I think.
True. And here we go. I'll spit it out, Goodell. Jermaine Johnson had to be him.
I think that's a good selection there for them.
My goodness. I don't know what type of costume he's wearing. He looks like do you remember probably not, the movie The Watchmen? He looked like Rorschach with the Jackson jacket that he's wearing here.
What the hell is Watchmen?
It was a movie, it was a comics, it was a comic books, The Watchmen. Rorschach was one of that's what this little outfit he's wearing looks like to me. But he had to go there. I'll tell you what, I feel a little bit better about the Jets' first day because they got the defensive end, the wide receiver they got. I still think they needed offensive line. Think
about this. They got Ahmad Gardner. They got Garrett Wilson and Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, they still need offensive line help.
They added offensive line help this offseason. It's worth noting that.
Yeah, but they still got Fat Boy on the team.
Oh, my God.
He eats more than everybody else on the team put together.
Oh, wow. This is definitely that's a suit. I'll tell you that much. It's definitely a tux.
I told you.
Hey, man. I'll pop it up on screen. It's interesting. Every time like there's a few suits that I'm like, I've never seen a suit like that. That's definitely one of those type of suits. He's got
from the back, it looks even better.
It looks like they've got, is that felt on the suit top? It looks like a felt layer on top.
I think the bird took a shit on him.
No, the glasses are kind of nice looking. I like the glasses. Okay, hold on. He's got Georgia, Boston College. What the hell is that for? Why is the Boston College second?
No, that was Florida State.
Inside, from high school.
That's the high school teams on the left. And then Georgia, he spent his first 3 years at Georgia and last year at Florida State. Okay, that makes sense.
That's right. That's nice. That's nice.
I want to see the back, Grumpy.
Uh-oh. Tampa Bay has traded back. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. So Tampa Bay will be picking first tomorrow, I guess.
Well, tells you all you need to know about what Tampa's thoughts are. Maybe they thought they can go ahead and acquire more draft capital if they're interested in a guy like Devontae Wyatt.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Devontae Wyatt will be there at the first pick tomorrow.
They acquired the 32nd overall pick, and a 4th round pick, and a 7th round pick for trading away the 27th pick.
Okay. Would have liked to see more of a 3rd round pick, but 7th round picks don't mean anything. You're useless.
Maybe they do something. You never know. Grump, I thought girls like the center cause because of the center of their attention. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe you made a comment that earlier. Sorry, behind. What the film's saying here. Did you guys see Micah Parsons drop the puck at Tampa Bay? I saw he definitely dropped the puck at the AHL game. I saw that. We're going to be talking about that on Sunday. Alexander sent it to us. It's funny. It is funny stuff. Oh man, nobody told him, Grumpy, that you're supposed to wait and the players come up and you do a pitcher and then drop the puck. It's like they give this a start your engines. He just went out there in the middle of boop. The direction. It was like the Hershey Bears apologized. Like, yeah, we didn't tell him how that's supposed to be. Or I don't remember who they played. Like, sorry, we take responsibility. I'm like, damn, like nobody told him what he's supposed to do with the puck drop. Come on, AHL affiliate. Come on, you got to be better than that.
The draft, the first round of the draft is almost over.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's only 6 picks to go. This is going to be over before 12 o'clock.
Yeah, what's wrong with that, Grump?
I'm ecstatic. I'm just surprised. That's all.
Maybe these last 6 picks are going to use 10 minutes each pick, Grumpy.
I don't see that happening. I can't see that happening.
Wow. Honestly, the Jets with Jermaine Johnson there, that was a big value pick, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick by them. That's maybe the best pick in the first round.
Just because he fell and slipped so far, and I know the talent's there.
They were talking about the Jets selecting him at number 10.
Here's the thing about it's just such a good pick for that spot. We didn't have a chance to really talk about, Jermaine Johnson's strengths. When I had him 6'1" or 6'1.5" there, again, he's got a speed that creates separation when he's on the snap of the ball. Or I'm sorry, I'm looking at he's 6'5". I was looking at Jameson Williams. I'm sorry. I was like 6'1", 6'5", a 5 or 4.58 40-yard dash, aggressive with violent hands. Again, he gets the edge and he's strong against the run too. That's one of those things. It's the defensive end, right? Some of them are pass rush only type guys. Jermaine Johnson's good against the run. I think defensive end wise, he's probably the best defensive end in this early crop of players selected, against the run in that area, Grump.
I think he had a really good Senior Bowl as well. Really,
yeah. He does a good job of engaging offensive linemen, disengaging with ease. It's the reason why he had 11.5 sacks. I think he led the ACC in sacks this year. Again, offensive linemen have to be consistently moving their feet. We talked about, right, Aiden Hutchinson, sometimes when he gets stalemated, he kind of just stands there and he kind of takes him a while to process what the next move is. And some defensive linemen and defensive end do that. Jermaine Johnson's a guy where you have to consistently be moving your feet because he's wild and he's just consistently looking for a way to disengage. So offensive linemen have to consistently move their feet in order to win a rep against him. And he can switch there to a bull rush to a speed rush move after jolting offensive linemen. We talk about, hey, does he do a good job through progressions? Can he go ahead and knock offensive linemen a little bit off balance where they start anchoring and then they can pull right past them? Jermaine Johnson does that.
Yeah. I mean, I love the pick for the Jets. That was a really good pick. I wasn't in love.
He could add 10 pounds as long as it doesn't compromise his speed and he'd be outlawed.
The only thing I would have been more happy if they would have got the offensive lineman. I would have felt a little bit better about their draft. Because they go as far as Zach Wilson takes them. And last year, that line was terrible. I know they made a couple of additions, but not enough in my book. Now, here's the thing. Cincinnati, I love what they did in the offseason. They got Ted Karras. They got Alex Kappa. I mean, they got better on the offensive line to help out Joe Burrow. And why? Because they went to the Super Bowl. So, all right, we don't want to play around with rookies. We're going to go out there and get some guys in free agency. I think those were good moves by Cincinnati. I still think they could use some offensive line help, but it's not as much of an urgent need as in their first pick.
I don't know. If the right guy was available, I'd say it was a no-brainer for Cincinnati, but the right guy I don't think is. Now, let me ask you, Grump, who has been selected at 27? I assume the pick is in?
The pick is in. Looks like Daxton Hill is mighty happy. So I don't know what they're saying, but they're looking at Daxton Hill, the safety from Michigan, and he's smiling it up. Everyone's kind of smiling and happy. So who knows? Well, but they're looking at Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. He's a throwback linebacker. Yeah. All right. 10, 15 years ago, this guy's a top 10 pick. But the position is just devalued now.
You're talking about linebackers, right?
Yes.
I was about to say, you look at the Patrick Willis's, the Dan Morgans, the Luke Kuechly's. Linebackers used to be able to be early picks. And again, unless you're really, truly special, they're not going to – I mean, Micah Parsons is a guy like that. Unless you're really, truly special, they're not going to be picked early. Simple as that. I mean, Daxton Hill's had, fantastic, right? Again, 6 foot, another one of the safeties who has good, adequate size, a 4.38 40-yard dash, quick as a freaking whip, too. He played well in the games that we had broken down.
Good diagnosing plays.
Yeah. Again, I thought he's very versatile, too. He could multiple coverage. Another guy who could do zone or man. I mean, smooth with his back pedal too. Sometimes you look at these guys and you wonder, hey, how does it look there, outside against better competition? He's one of those guys I think that translates to the next level. Again, he's got the speed too. All right, 4.38 40 for a safety it's freaking quick. It's fast.
And the Jacksonville pick is in. And it's Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah. That's a good pick for Jacksonville. That's a good pick. Good for him. Solid citizen. Like I said, a throwback without a doubt. But those guys can still play. I mean, good for Jacksonville, good for Devin Lloyd. That's a real value pick for them for his talent. Once again, the position is devalued just because linebackers, old school linebackers are, but that's a good pickup. Good pickup.
And again, he moves quick too, right? I mean, even for 6'3", 6'3" linebacker, Grump. My God.
And his comparison is Darius Leonard. So, I mean, you could do a lot worse than being compared to Darius Leonard.
He's aggressive. He's physical. I mean, you talk about
dude, he can finish. He finishes tackles.
That's what I said, man. He's aggressive, physical, man. Physical and aggressive. I tell you, he does a good job pursuit of the ball carrier as well. I mean, sneaky talented with a few of those. We talk about guys who are elusive as linebackers. Can you avoid, blockers? Do a good job of block shedding? He's got good hands where he's able to go ahead and disengage from his offensive linemen. And again, even in pass rush situations, he's able to dial up a little bit of pressure.
He can play. He's a player. Like I said, 10 years ago, he's a top 10 pick. But now the game has changed.
He struggled a bit through his fits against BYU, though.
You still need to have guys who can make plays on the defensive side of the ball. I know they want to turn it into like a track meet out there, but at the end of the day, you still have to have guys who can make plays on defense.
No, I don't disagree with that. I know like a little bit with how he looks in his hips, how he flips his hips is a little bit of a question here, for Devin Lloyd. Man, how fluid he is. What?
He just lifted up Roger Goodell. Forget about it.
Forget about it, Grump, right?
Forget about it.
Ariel C said, what do you guys think of the pickups by the Jets and the Giants, Grump? I'll let you go first because I know ours are similar, but a little different.
The Jets, I want him to go offensive tackle with the first pick because I'm just not sold on that fat clown who's always hurt. Mekhi Becton. I eat everything I see, Becton. So I didn't like that. But they got a wide receiver and a good one from Ohio State and Garrett Wilson. And I think their best pick of the night was trading up to get Jermaine Johnson. I'm sorry, from Florida State at the end of the first round. I thought that was really good by them. So, I mean, I give them probably an A. For the Giants, they got Thibodeaux at number 5 and Evan Neal at number 7. I think that's a solid A grade for them as well.
I was about to say, I give the Jets an A. I think both of them had. I think you said it well. Both of them had fantastic drafts. I don't dislike Ahmad Gardner, Grump. I don't dislike the offensive line situation for the Jets. I just think it's as simple as they believe Mekhi Becton is healthy and can stay healthy. Can he do that? That's the big question. And if he can, right, they look like geniuses. If he can't, then they're going to be kicking themselves a bit because they had Evan Neal on the board at 4. They had offensive linemen. They could have selected even, at the 10 spot as well. So I think the Giants, Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal were 2 fantastic picks. I mean, you couldn't have dreamt up a better scenario for the Giants. And you think to yourself, right, the Jets, a fantastic job trading back up for Jermaine Johnson. I mean, that's a very, very good valued pick right there. Yes. And you added another wide receiver to help add those threats and those options. So Zach Wilson has those. Now, here's the thing. I think the Jets look for running back on day 2. I really do believe that, if a running back falls, and running backs will fall, I think they do need running back help.
I think that's probably going to be I don't know. I don't know what they traded to move back in. So I'm sure that their second round pick had to be one that got moved. So I'm not quite sure what they gave up to move back into the first, but I'm sure it was their second round pick. So maybe it's a third rounder, but here's the thing, you get running backs in the third round. Not a problem there at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Let me see here what they gave up for that. So.
Okay. The Green Bay Packers pick is in. I don't know who they're looking at, but did they go wide receiver here? Did they go for Sky Moore?
I could see them go. I could see them go. I could see them go from the kid from I thought
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State. Yeah.
Watson.
Yeah.
Christian Watson.
See him go for Christian Watson. Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, he was projected to be like a third-round guy. And you're talking about him at the end of the first if that's where he goes. That's a reach.
People are reaching on wide receivers right now, man.
Well, no. I don't know if they reached on the wide receivers early, but if you're going for one now, you're reaching.
He looked good in the Pro Bowl, right? He was big and he looked good in the Pro Bowl. That was the thing that, we talk about guys who he played D1 AA, but he looked good in the Pro Bowl. That helped him out a lot.
Senior Bowl.
I'm sorry, Senior Bowl. Ugh.
Okay. I don't know why we're dragging this stuff out. The pick has been in for like 5 minutes. What's the delay? That's all I want to know. What's the freaking delay? There's no reason to delay this. Just get the picks on with. Stop dragging it out.
Okay. The Jets traded away their 35th overall pick when they moved up for the Titans. They moved up to the 26th spot, and they received the 26th overall selection and the 101st. They gave up their 35th, 69th, and 163rd.
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
The Jets gave up their 35th, so their second round pick, the 69th, their third round pick, and their 163. I can't even do the math on what.
Wow.
And they got back in return the 26 and the 101.
Okay,
they gave up a bit, but there's value, so they got the guy they wanted. You know what I mean? That's the important part of it.
Second and third. Okay.
And they got back a fourth and gave up like a fifth or a sixth.
Okay, just think about what Jacksonville did.
Hold on, did you not see the pick? I got the pick already updated.
No, I have not seen
it. Devontae Wyatt.
Oh, there you go.
I literally went on the Athletic. The Athletic has this shit all typed out to where they just must be like they've got like something they were going to copy and paste the exact information they wanted on the player, and they just say the Packers select Georgia's Devontae Wyatt at 28th overall, and they go ahead and just place all the information there for him. Well, Devontae Wyatt, Grump.
Well, that's a guy I think that Tampa Bay was probably looking at, but I don't know why they're dragging. I could care less what Andrew Whitworth has to say. You got your Walter Payton Man of the Year award at the end of the year. Congrats, you did a speech there. Stop dragging his shit out. Get the rest of these things done. Come on. I'm sorry.
Are you getting a little irritable towards the tail end?
Yeah, I'm irritable because I wanted Devontae Wyatt for the Buccaneers.
Oh my God. I tell you, Devontae Wyatt is a guy who's, good size, right? 6'3". He's a guy, runs a 4.77 40-yard dash. It seems like the amount of these larger defensive and offensive linemen that run, in the fours, it's almost like a prerequisite these days, Grump.
True. Finally, the imbecile Goodell is back up here to break my heart and say that Devontae Wyatt is going to Green Bay.
I'm sorry, Grumpy.
I mean, but here's the thing. This they've been saying the pick has been in for 10 minutes.
That's dumb. I don't know why it's taking him so long to get all that out. But, I mean, Wyatt's a guy who, again, he's got pop on initial bursts of speed and items like that. You wonder – I always wonder when you see these defensive linemen that are selected from a super defense, right, that has unbelievable linebacking core, unbelievable secondary, unbelievable defensive linemen around them. You wonder how it helps hide and conceal some of their inadequacies.
True. I think the picture is going to be for Tampa Bay tomorrow is going to be Logan Hall, defensive tackle from Houston. That's what I'm saying for tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough. And you talk about, a pass rushing guy, right? He could show some urgency occasionally as a pass rusher, and I think he's the next best. He was the next best defensive tackle off the board, an A gap, and he does a good job of two gapping. He's another one of those guys who could stop the run also. I mean, that's what you're looking for at a D tackle for the most part.
Yeah.
He changes direction, okay, right? We talk about Jordan Davis, right? That guy doesn't have much change of direction, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not his game style. Wyatt does have the ability to change direction, especially in the pocket as well.
Yeah, he's able to shoot those gaps as well. Yeah, I mean, I think he had 5.5 sacks in career at Georgia, but I mean, he certainly came on this year.
Yeah, I am not a bad selection. I mean, this is you're talking about late half of the first round. This is a guy I think that fills a role for you. Don't expect him to be racking up sacks left and right. He fills the role for you. Occasionally, can offer a little bit of pressure in the guy's face, maybe collapse the pocket a bit. And this is the guy who's designed to stop the run. Occasionally he does get when they've got a quick punch in him. As an offensive lineman gets on that pass pro, he gets a punch inside his body, kind of slows down the pass rush a bit. But again, it's all about a war of attrition out there. He's not going to be a guy that racks up a lot of sacks. He's a role player, but will be a valuable role player.
And the Patriots, their pick is in. They need cornerback help. They need offensive line help. I'll be interested to see what direction they go.
Well, we've got here Frank saying he thought that was a lot for the Jets to give up to move up.
I thought so too. I thought so as well.
I mean, he's talented.
Yeah, I mean,
he's talented, right? He fell in the draft, and I think that's why they had to pay more than when others did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just looking at what Tampa Bay got back to drop back to 33. They got an extra 4th and a 7th, where the Jets traded their 2nd and their 3rd. I just thought that was a lot. That was a lot.
And you said the Patriots on the board right now. The pick's in.
Their pick is in. They don't know what it is. Like I said, for me, they need cornerback help desperately. Is it this where Andrew Booth goes, or an offensive lineman? They need offensive line help desperately. They have Trent Brown. I think they signed him to a 2-year extension, but he's another guy who can't manage to stay on the field. He's hurt all the time. Calf injuries had for the last 2.5 years. And then they have Isaiah Wynn, who's playing the left tackle spot for them, who's undersized for that position. And I don't even think they picked up his 5th-year option. So that means they're probably going to be looking at it. They're probably going to look for offensive tackle or a cornerback.
Can you see Daxton Hill going here? He's versatile, right? He plays safety. He can play a little bit of corner, but I could see if they need a little bit of secondary help, I could see Daxton Hill going here. He's versatile.
They don't need safety help right now. They could use anything, honestly. But remember, you still got Devin McCourty back there. You have Kyle Duggar. You have Adrian Phillips. So you're okay at the safety position. Cornerback, you lost J.C. Jackson. Last year in season, you got rid of Stephon Gilmore. So you have Jalen Mills, the guy they picked up from Philadelphia. They have Jonathan Jones, who's a slot type guy. Those are your top 2 corners. So you definitely need a cornerback as well. I mean, like I said, for me, it's either Andrew Booth or it's an offensive lineman. We can scan the offensive tackle. And it's got to be an offensive tackle, by the way, not just an offensive lineman.
Well, there have been plenty of offensive linemen that have gone off the board here. I'm not sure there's anyone that screams, "Oh, this is a fantastic pick for that spot." If you're the Patriots, you know what I mean. So,
I mean, they traded back. They will get some more draft capital, which will help them.
Typical Bill Belichick move.
Yes.
I don't think that's something Mitch has ever. I mean, I can't remember the last time he's traded up in a draft.
I mean, they could also use linebacker help too. They really could. So maybe it's the Kobe Dean guy.
Yeah, perhaps. But hey, Kobe Dean might be on the board in the 2nd round. The guy that was a lock for the 1st round, Grumpy says. So I think the size hurts him. You know?
Yes, without a doubt.
Bernard Ryman. I could see maybe that's a guy.
Yeah,
look from Central Michigan if they're thinking, oh, it's got to be a tackle, and we've got to look for an offensive lineman. Perhaps that's a guy they take a chance on.
He's one of their type guys for certain because I think he's from overseas somewhere. Might be from Germany. The pick is in. Let's see what it is. And it's going to be Cole Strange, offensive guard from Chattanooga.
What
That's a bit of a reach.
my God. Remember when guys we talked about? Holy shit. Oh my God. Who?
Oh boy, that's
I
a
did
bit of
not
a
do
reach.
any research on this guy. I'll be
He's-
honest with you. I did none research on him.
He's not a first round pick. He's absolutely not a first round pick. Um, let me see. I can pull something up on him.
I'll get it. I'll get it up. My God. Oh, they said he could be ready to compete for an NFL starting job at Gardner Center in year one. I don't know. I'll pull some up on him, Grump. But my God, I think this is you talk about a reach here in the first round. This is certainly it.
Yeah, to me, it's a major reach. They say that the ESPN draft 93% chance of him being available at pick 54, which is the next New England pick.
Yeah, I'm seeing this is pretty much a slated in second round pick for a guy like this. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Lord. Jesus Christ.
Hey, good luck there, Mac Jones.
Well, they got some offensive line help, right? I'm reading about him. Let me see. I've got a 16-second ad to get through to see if it will finally pop up for us. But man, oh man. Let's see. I'll try to pull up some film on this guy real quick, Grump.
You know another guy who would have been a first round pick if he didn't get hurt at his pro day? David Ojabo, the edge rusher from Michigan. And Kansas City at number 30, the pick is in. And they select George Karlaftis, defensive end from Purdue.
Okay, there it is. I thought that he was a guy. He was a defensive end that I knew would have a chance there to climb up the boards as of late, and he's a guy who I thought was a late first, early second.
Really productive. I mean,
Yeah.
really productive. I
Yep.
mean, actually, at this point in the draft, I mean, I think Kansas City did a nice job today. They really did. I mean, if you're looking at, just where guys are rated, he was rated like as a top 20, honestly, to get him at 30.
Yeah, he's. I'm pulling up there the numbers too. I mean, I liked his film. Give me a sec, Grump.
Yeah, I can read you something here. Dane Brugler from The Athletic said that Karlaftis' hands are not only physical and violent, but they're well-timed and strategic to get the offense off schedule. For a player with his speed, strength, and physicality, though, he misses too many tackles and needs to become a more controlled finisher. Okay, that'll be a problem initially. Overall, he doesn't have elite length or athletic twitch, but he has NFL power and effort in his handwork to break down the rhythm of blockers and be disruptive. He's a starting D end in a traditional four-man front. So, that kind of reminds you, didn't they say the same thing about Ryan Kerrigan when he came out?
And he panned himself out quite a successful NFL career.
Yep. The Bengals pick is in. So, like I said, here's the thing. All these picks are in.
They know who
they did that ridiculous delay when the Packers pick was coming up, where they ran every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there to just drag this damn show out. So, but there's two more picks to go. Cincinnati, which the pick is already in at 31, and Minnesota picking where Detroit was initially slated to select.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his numbers, right? In 2020, he was hurt in that COVID season. He was out due to injury too. So you wonder if that affected a little bit. He missed time in 2020 due to injury. But, he played 3 starts and had 2 sacks that year. I mean, he played well. He was an All-American type caliber player. 11 and a half tackles for loss in the 12 games he played.
Does Cincinnati go Andrew Booth here? That's what I'm wondering. Maybe this is the Andrew Booth spot, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I definitely had Cole Strange going in the first round, so that was one that definitely didn't throw me for any freaking shock. I don't know. Oh my God.
I mean, they did a nice job. They've already solidified, their offensive line, talking about Cincinnati, with free agency. So now what do you want to do? You want to go defensive side of the ball, and cornerback is probably their biggest need right now. So for me, I'm looking at Andrew Booth. That's why I think their selection is going to be. Going out on a limb here.
Here's the thing. Why not Daxton Hill?
He's a safety. They need a cornerback.
He can play some corner too.
Now, you want a guy who's actually a cornerback. You don't want to have to convert a guy from safety to cornerback. He's playing safety for a reason because he's not a cornerback. You don't see guys play college at safety and convert to cornerbacks. You do see college cornerbacks converting to safety. Devin McCourty was one of those.
He played both. I mean, Andrew Booth isn't a bad pick from Clemson either, but I'm just saying, right? If I'm trying to think who the best player available on the board, and now forgive me, who are the safeties for Cincinnati? You have that pulled up?
Hold on, I can tell you. They have the Bates kid, who's a safety. Let's see. Come on. Here we go. Jesse Bates, who's really good. Von Bell, Trayvon Henderson, Michael Thomas, and Brandon Wilson. So, I mean, Jesse Bates was a Pro Bowler. And I don't know who their safety's not a concern for them, though. It's not. It's what they need is cornerbacks. That's their issue. Right now, Eli Apple is a starting corner for them.
Mm.
I mean, Awuzie is a guy. John Brandon, Jalen Davis, Trey Flowers. I mean, those are your cornerbacks. They need a cornerback. I think it's going to be Booth. I really do.
So Andrew Booth, again, he played well. And you think about it, that Clemson defense, right? People think, oh, yeah, Clemson took a step back this year. It wasn't the defense that took a step back. The defense kept them in games. The offense was miserable for Clemson this last year.
True.
It wasn't, yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be Hill, but I mean, he's more of a safety type. But who knows? If it was me, I'm drafting the guy who's a straight corner. That's what I'm doing.
Ariel C said it came all the way here from the Honors Never Said Die podcast because I love the podcast you guys do. Well, we appreciate that, Ariel. We appreciate it. Certainly do. What a film's saying. I'm not going to root for the Vikings and the Bills. 120 years between them and nothing to show.
Not actually 120. Yeah, actually, it is 120 years. It's actually 120. What? No, I guess 120 plus.
Well, the Vikings. How long has it been since the Vikings have done anything?
I don't know, but they were an expansion team, I think in 1960 or 61. And the same thing with the Bills when the AFL started in 1961, whatever it was, 60, 61. Yeah. So
like when you think about Booth, right? He's another one of those guys, and every single corner you draft in the first round always has these, right? Oh, he's smooth as his back pedal. He's got good hips. He does a good job of judging the ball there and tracking the ball when it's in the air. Like they always do those certain items really, really well. And, it's for corners, right? I feel like their issues can always be the same. Oh, sometimes can make a false step. Sometimes can waste movement. Sometimes can, be a little, it's a little different for him. Sometimes he can try to anticipate a little bit too much instead of relying upon his abilities, right? And that's one of those things you kind of want to work out of.
Right. I like a guy who's instinctive.
Yeah.
A safety has to be instinctive for me.
Again, he's not huge. I think that, that he's not small by any stretch of the imagination. But another guy who's 6 foot tall, just, he'll struggle against those bigger wideouts out wide.
True. I mean, like I said, I liked Hill at Michigan. I did, but I just view him as more of a safety type. But, you never know.
I could see him going to the Bengals. It's funny. I'm looking at items that were done days ago, and they're talking about, oh, this could be a prime pick for the Bengals. This is who they should go with at the 31st overall selection. My God, I feel like they're taking quite a bit of time here.
They're just dragging it out. The draft is over. It's over because Minnesota's pick is in as well. They're just dragging it out for TV. It went too fast.
Oh, man, we sold so many TV ads. Maybe we can go ahead and take 15 minutes over the next 2 picks. So we can make sure it goes to 12.
It was scheduled to end at 11:30. This thing should have already been over before 11:30. Okay, here we go. The pick is in. Finally. The pick has been completed.
Grumpy dumpy. Oh, man. Well, they're talking about their offensive line there for the Bills or for the Patriots. Nate Solder. Oh, look at that. That's the 4th offensive lineman Bill Belichick has drafted in the first round. Nate Solder, Isaiah Wynn, Logan Mankins, and now Connor Strange. Cole Strange.
Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan, going to Cincinnati. I think they needed a cornerback, but all right. They got the safety position locked up. Another Michigan guy. Good for him.
That-
I mean, very instinctive, and he was a good player for them without a doubt. I just don't think he's a cornerback. That's all.
thought there was no. I closed off what I had on Daxton Hill. I was like, okay, Grumpy, you talked me out of it. I was originally like, Daxton Hill, I could see going here. You talked me out of it, Grumpy. Let me pull back up his profile.
But Kuiper's even saying, can he play corner? That's the question. I don't think he can play corner. That's the big question on him.
Again, another one of those safeties that have unbelievable speed if he is a safety, right? I think maybe they see the speed and they say, okay, this guy he's played corner a bit in college. He can go ahead and translate and do that. I mean, you look at it, right? The 4.38 40-yard dash. I mean, you look at the speed, it's definitely there across the board, unbelievably quick. He's explosive. He's got that rare speed, for a safety, which makes me think maybe he can play corner. But I tell you, he does a good job, at least when he was at safety, anticipating and kind of jumping those routes as well.
Just to let you know, the Vikings pick is already in. It's probably been in for the last 10, 15 minutes.
Ooh,
that's one thing I just wish. You know what?
The Vikings.
They got pissed off a few years ago when Twitter was just leaking those picks. Bang, bang, bang. You want to know why? Because they wanted the TV show. It's all about the TV show to the NFL. Eyeballs, money, greedy bastards that they are. You know what? Somebody should just buck the trend and say, screw you. We're going with the Twitter. We're going back to just releasing them as they come up. Because the Twitter was releasing picks, 2 or 3 were done before they put them on the TV program. And then the NFL just stopped that because they could.
How did they stop it, Grump?
This bunch of scummers. That's the reason.
They took much more much more care as to how the picks were released.
God, like I said, it's 10 minutes a pick. Why did it take 20 minutes for the Packers pick to get released? I mean, it's been 15 minutes on this pick for the Bengals. I mean, shit. I mean, all these picks were in. That Vikings pick, that Packers pick came in. Everything else in. They wasn't even saying on the clock, in. The pick is in. The pick is in. Well, just stop talking about it and get to the last damn pick. Come on.
And who's got the last pick? Remind me, Grump.
The Vikings.
That's right,
From
the
that
Vikings.
Ridiculously poor trade they made with Detroit earlier today.
Let me ask you this. What would it not be bad for them to draft Malik Willis? If they think, hey, Kirk Cousins, right? He's not getting any younger. I know they're in compete now mode.
I just don't think Malik Willis is that good. He's a project.
Well, no better spot for a project to be than a spot where he could sit and learn behind somebody, because I do agree with you. He is a project, and a long-term project, right? It may be a year, if not more, until he's able to develop where he needs to be. But, at least he has the comfort to do so with, Kirk Cousins being the quarterback in Minnesota.
I think Matt Corral is a better quarterback than Willis. I like Matt Corral. He's just got winner written all over him. What about the kid from Cincinnati, Des Ryder? I mean, I don't think he's that great, but he's got winner written all over him too. My gosh, look at these Vikings fans. Oh my gosh. Minnesota messes with your head being all that cold. I'm just telling you. I'm just looking at them. Wow. I mean, they got nothing to do up there.
Nothing at all, huh?
Nothing. I mean, you got a woman up here. Okay, sorry. You should not be wearing a dress that short when you got cellulite hanging out the back of your legs. I'm sorry. And you're standing up on a chair. It looks even worse. And the camera went right to her. It's like, oh!
She knew how to
look at that. She's going to look at that and say, damn, I should have went with the tight leggings. And here she
Damn, I looked hot. That's what she's going to say, right, Grumpy?
No, and they're looking at her again because she's up there. She's got her pom-pom. She's cheering. She looks like she's about 40. Not that 40 is a bad age. I'm just saying she looks like she's 40 and she's acting like she's 20.
I love her. Grumpy's like, man, she looks like she's about 40. How old are you, Grumpy?
Older than 40. Okay, but it'd be like me going up there in a Speedo, going, you know what I'm saying? There gets to be a time where you get to be a certain age. You can't act like you're 20 anymore.
Minnesota.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to say.
Who are listed as the top players on the draft board right now that Minnesota could go after right now, Grump?
Well, let's see what Minnesota actually wants. I think that's what they need, right? I mean,
Dude, the needs. This is one of those spots to where I have I don't know. Right. And if I was thinking if they were
Maybe-
drafting 12th, what Grumpy?
Maybe Andre Booth goes here. They need cornerback. They need safety. I think Hill would have been a spot here for them. And the pick is in, finally.
I could see them going corner here. I could see them going Booth to end. I mean, like they could need corner, they could have need safety. So it's like Daxton Hill's off the board. So maybe
The selection is Lewis Seen, the safety from Georgia. That's a good pick for them.
Yeah.
That's a good pick for them. That was somebody who I feel that Tampa Bay would have targeted at the top of the second round. I think you're going to see Tampa Bay trade back from the number 33 pick tomorrow.
again.
Yep. I think that's a guy they wanted. He's a guy they wanted. They lost Jerome Whitehead to the Jets, and
Jordan Whitehead. Yeah.
Jordan Whitehead, I'm sorry. And they have not replaced him at this point in time. This Seen kid hits like a ton of bricks.
He's had a terrific year for
Yep.
Georgia too. I mean, like you talk about guys who really excel, but you wonder how much of that was obviously helped out because the defense is around him. You see a lot, and deservedly so. You see a lot of these Georgia defenders going in the first round.
Yeah, but he's got good vision. He's got really good vision. He diagnoses quick. That's a really good pick for them. Like I said, that's somebody that I think that Tampa was probably looking at the top of the second round. Now I think they look to deal out. I think they absolutely will maybe pick up another third, something like that. I think Logan Hall is a guy they could look at in the second round, or Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State. Those I think are guys they're going to target. Like I said, they needed safety help. They signed the kid, Keenan Neal, used to play for Atlanta. They signed him to a 1-year deal. He was with Dallas last year, but played out of position at linebacker. Maybe they'll put him back as a safety. I don't know, but I think they do need help on the back end for certain.
Well, Grumpy, we are here. We made it through another NFL draft, our second time doing so. The 2022 NFL draft first round is in the books, Grump. What do you want to say before we wrap things up today?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, everybody, for tuned in for this year's NFL draft coverage. It was a lot better than our first time doing this last year. Again, we always love everybody tuning in and asking questions and commenting in. I love the interaction for certain. Thank you, Grumpy Old Man, for your dedication, Grumpy. And
Now,
we'll
see,
you guys on
I'm just going to say, they have a girl up here now, even though she's a little bit older, she can pull it off. They know how to pick them out of the crowd. They're smart.
What's worse, Grumpy, is these over-the-hill fans that dress up in silly costumes.
True. And there's a lot of them, too. They're all drunk. They're all hammered. I mean,
Yes,
hammered drunk.
Frank reminds me here, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Absolutely. Thank you there, Frank, for the reminder. And great job. Thanks there, Frank, for it. Thank you, Grumpy. We'll see you guys Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the normal TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show. Until then, have a great evening, a great Friday, and a great weekend. Thank you, Grumpy.
My pleasure.